Get your killer heels, sneakers, pumps, always up your boots, representing all the women. Salute.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Women Techmakers Manila on the Web 2.0. This is Faye, and I will be your host for today. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Hello? Guys, comment kayo if naririnig niyo ako. Hello? Okay, so I think it's my internet connection. Ngayon lang pumapasok yung messages nyo. So again, welcome to Women Tech Makers Manila on the Web 2.0. We hope everybody is safe and mentally healthy during this time of pandemic. Of course, thank you for joining us today. We prepared a great lineup of speakers and exciting activities all throughout the event. And as we move from doing a physical event to an online platform, our sponsors have been very supportive on making our events inspiring and interesting. Thanks to Google, Accenture Technology, and Cloudstaff. So, just a quick recap of our first WTM event last May 9. Our speakers talked about the programming language Go, the AI life cycle, their stories on leading a nonprofit community, and how learning transformed into digital during COVID-19. But aside from that, we promoted a donation drive for our frontliners. Days after, we were able to serve 100 meals to our frontliners in Jose Reyes Medical Center. Actually, I'm going to present a picture of our frontliners. So, wait lang. Ayan. So, we were able to gather fund and serve meals, 100 meals to our frontliners. If you want to extend help to them, feel free to visit Frontline Feeders PH social media channels. Of course, thank you so much to those who donated last time. We really appreciate it. It was a great opportunity to share not just knowledge to the community, but also the chance to help one another during this tough time. And for today's event, we are promoting the Rise Movement, who supports families and individuals who lost their jobs because of COVID-19. Their marketing lead, Lenli, will share more details with you later. Any amount will do, may it be 50 pesos or 1,000 pesos. So those amount, when gathered, will be a great help for the beneficiaries. So thank you in advance. I know you won't hesitate to help. So as I mentioned earlier, we prepared a great lineup of speakers today. Kris will be sharing about urban planning and smart cities. Kai of Accenture will talk about inclusive design. GDGPH, very own Joy, will be speaking about cybersecurity. And Jazz of GDG Cloud Manila will discuss about to cloud or not to cloud. Sounds exciting, right? But wait, there's more, and I think this is more exciting. We will be giving away 3 Google Home Mini and a brand new Redmi Note 8 from Cloudstaff. We have games and raffle in between the talks, so make sure to tune in. So, as we posted last week on our social media page, Cloudstaff gave us a Redmi Note 8 smartphone that will be raffled later, and we prepared games for the lucky winners of our Google Home Mini in between the event. So before we formally start, let me give you a quick overview of what GDG does. On a normal year without COVID-19, we host 4 major events. That's Women Tech Makers every March that focuses on diversity. Next is Google I/O Roadshow that aims to bring I/O California to several parts of the Philippines. This happens from June to August. While GDG DevFest is the grandest event of the year wherein Google developer experts travel all the way from different countries to share the latest updates on Google technologies every October. And lastly, we have Android Masters, an initiative of Google Developer Group Philippines that challenges students and professionals to come up with a game app and an app for social goods. So let me introduce the team behind the successful events. We have G as our WTM ambassador, Trisha, our communications head, MJ, our programs head, Justine, our creatives head, Jera, our logistics head, and Joy, our finance head. But of course, it's not all ladies. We also have men in the team. We have Stephen, our tech lead, JJ, our programs head, and we have David and Luis from our documentations team. And I'm proud to say that GDG Philippines is run by these passionate volunteers with a heart. And to know more about our incoming events, feel free to keep in touch on Facebook, Instagram, and meet up at GDG Philippines. So, without further ado, and I know I already talked too much, let me introduce our first speaker. Let us know about this war that we can only win as one. Let's learn from the marketing lead of the Rise movement about their mission and impact. Everyone, let's welcome Lenny Tuhoy on your screens.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I am Lenli. Hi. Hi, everyone. I am Lenli. I'm one of the leads for the Rise movement. Do you guys hear me? This is what we do during online events, right? We confirm if we're being heard. Okay, I think my audio is okay. Yeah. So I'm looking at the side because I'm also watching at the live stream to make sure it's going okay. So yeah, we are very thankful to Women Tech Makers for giving us this opportunity to talk about our initiative and encourage more people to help us in this cause. So today I will be just taking a few minutes to talk about what we do here and how you can help. So before I start, I would like to show this. I'll just stop it there. I think some of you have seen this video on social media or in the news, and it is indeed very heartbreaking. So if you don't know, over 2 million Filipinos all over the Philippines lost their jobs because of the COVID-19 health crisis. This data is as of April 26, 2020. So I don't know if this will rise in the upcoming months as this pandemic will continue to prolong. So last April, around the second week of April, our team decided we wanted to do something, and then we weren't sure of this problem, so we wanted to validate it with the Filipinos. So what we did is we sent out a survey for displaced workers to fill out. So in the survey, we asked what jobs did they lose, do they have other sources of income, how many people in the family are they providing for, and along with that, we also asked their stories about their present experiences. And we were very overwhelmed because in a span of few hours that we published this form, we got hundreds and hundreds of responses from Filipinos all around the country, and we didn't even expect that at all. So we were very shocked, and that's when it hit us that okay, this is a real thing, and this is a problem, this is a struggle that so many Filipinos are suffering right now. So among these more than 2 million Filipinos, many of them are minimum wage earners or breadwinners for their families, like jeepney drivers, we have factory workers, construction workers, helpers, and many more. So I would like to share this one story shared to us by one of our beneficiaries, and I tried my best to translate this to English. So the beneficiary said that it was a shock to me. I feel bad for my family, especially for my children who can't eat or ask for what they need, especially their milk that we now have to budget so tightly. Before we can feed them milk 5 times a day, but now we can only do so thrice a day because it's so tight, even though I have to see them cry. So imagine this is just one of the hundreds of stories that we got, and reading through most of them, we can't even bring ourselves to read all of them. It was very saddening, and it was very heartbreaking, to us. And that's when I realized that most of us are very fortunate to even have like food on our tables 3 times a day, or that we don't have to go on days in hunger, because so many of these people out there are suffering, and we're just very blessed. So I would like to borrow the words of our lead also, Albert, from the Rice Movement. He said that the real fight in this virus war is waged at home, and we only win against this war if everyone stays at home long enough. And that is true, because when some people leave home for whatever reason, we give a chance for the virus to spread again, right? And like what we saw in the news clip earlier, those taxi drivers were forced because they felt like they have no choice but to still look for passengers to still do their usual trips, because how will they earn money to feed their families, right? Their families will starve. And for us to overcome this virus war, everyone as much as possible have to stay at home. But not everyone can afford that. That is the sad reality. A lot of hardworking families live paycheck to paycheck. And for 2 months now and counting, and this will prolong, they have no work and they have no pay while having to stay at home to minimize the spread of the virus. So they need our help. And this is the reason why we started the Rice Movement initiative. So the Rice Movement is a fundraising initiative to provide rice for the families of these displaced workers to get them through this challenging time. We thought, our team in the Rice Movement thought that, if we could just deliver sacks of rice to these families, it will at least sustain them for, at least a month. And if they have at least rice, because we are Filipinos, we love rice and we can survive with rice, at least they don't have to go out anymore. They are not forced to go out and look for jobs, look for sources of income just to feed their families. And we can help each other stay at home. So this is the impact that we've had so far since we started last April. As of yesterday, we were already able to deliver 588 sacks of rice for 2,375 Filipinos to survive staying home for at least a month. And these Filipinos are, the movement is in Cebu. We've also started in Bacolod, in Manila, and yeah, that's the cities, the main places that we are doing the initiative in right now. And we want to help more. We want to continue doing this because 2 million plus Filipinos. That's a lot, but as much we can only help as much as we can, but to the extent of our resources, to the extent of our efforts, we want to do so much while this is still ongoing. So this is what's next for us. On our this we are on our phase 2 of fundraising. We just concluded our phase 1, which we are very thankful to our donors, to everyone who donated. So for this phase 2, we are targeting to raise 500,000 pesos more in funds so that we will be able to help 600 plus families of displaced workers. So we actually already have a list of beneficiaries just waiting on rice. So we are still collecting funds. We are still pushing more to get more donations so that we will be able to purchase and deliver rice to these families who are waiting. And as what that taxi driver in the news in the news clip that I showed you said, he said mahirap pag mahirap. And indeed it's very hard, and most of us can't even start to feel that. We are in a very blessed position in our lives. So I would like to encourage everyone who are in a position to help others. I'm knocking on your hearts. So if you want to help in our cause, if you want to help feed more Filipinos and their families get through this challenging time, I am showing the donation accounts that for you to send your donations to, if you are interested to help. So these are also actually in our social media channels. This is all over our Facebook page and on our website. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/the Rice Movement PH, and our website is thericemovement.com. So yeah, if you have questions after this live, you can also send it to us through our Facebook page, and we will respond to that. So I'm actually at the end of my presentation. I will just show this video and then we'll conclude. All right, so that's what we have done so far, and this is the reason why I say that this is a war that we can only win as one, because if we don't help each other, this might take longer for all of us. And we're Filipinos, we're all in this together, and we really believe that we will heal as one. So let's join the movement, because together we will rise. So learn more about us on our Facebook page, on our website, and we are also actually we're not only asking for donations from private individuals. We are also very open to partnerships or corporate brands who are willing to help us in this cause. So if you have any inquiries or if you are interested in any of that, please feel free to contact me, Lenli. You can email me at rachel.tuhoy@gmail.com, flashed on the screen, and also my mobile number. You can text or call me anytime. So yeah, I think, do we have questions or any inquiries about the donation? The initiative. Yeah, I think, no questions so far. So that's it for me. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening in, and we really hope that we can get more people to help us in this cause. Thank you.
From the usual tech talks that we usually conduct, we truly appreciate you for helping us to align with our social responsibility. And yes, together we rise. So I know one of the founders of the Rise movement is a good friend of GDG Philippines, Mr. Albert Padin. So if you're attending events during 2017 to 2018 of GDG Philippines, I know you already hear his talks. So thank you so much, Lenli. And I hope our participants will be able to share even a little amount. Thank you.
Thank you, Women Techmakers.
Thank you. So, all right. As I said earlier, let me just share to you kung ano yung magiging mechanics of our event, of our games for today. So, survey lang, meron bang willing na pumasok sa StreamYard and makita later ng audience natin, everyone on the stream? Survey pa lang muna, hindi pa naman ako magpapagames. I just want to know, is anyone willing to share the stage with us? Google Home Mini lang naman yung papamigay namin ngayon. Meron na bang nag-comment? I think wala pa. So, question ulit. Is someone willing na makasama sa stream natin today? Okay, so meron ng isang game. So later, yun yung isa sa mga sneak peek natin kung ano yung magiging game natin. Papasok kayo sa stream and we'll discuss kung ano man yung game natin. But of course, let's move on first to our next speaker. Now that we have been inspired on how we can help in simple ways, let's start to get a bit techy. Joining us next is an internationally certified sustainability practitioner and the executive director and chief sustainability officer at Smart Cities PH. Let us all welcome Kris Libunao.
There you go. Hello, guys. Can you hear me? Okay na? Okay, so I'll start. So basically, my discussion. Let me first fix my screen. Sorry about that. It's weird. Technical problem, guys. I'm sorry. There you go. Where is my screen? I'm blocked for some reason. Let me join again. Okay. I'm in presentation mode already. There we go. Okay. Okay, so I'll just start already. So here's my presentation. It's about urban planning and smart cities. For some reason, it's not working as a presentation though. Is there anyone here? I'm sorry. Okay, am I back? Can anyone? Sorry about that. There you go. So, okay, sorry about the technical difficulties. So basically, I'm here to discuss about urban planning and smart cities. I think most of you are quite familiar about smart cities. It's gaining a little bit of a buzz nowadays. So just a background about myself. So I'm Kris, and I'm the executive director of Smart City. What's Smart City? Smart City is a nonprofit. We're registered. It's fairly new. We're registered this March 2019, and our activities right now are the following. Yes, we're gathering commitments on shared national principles for the smart cities. We're training for openness and smart communities, advisory, and smart planning. We have assessments as well, and we do tech development, but the focus is open source tech development. So our major goal in smart city is basically to co-build an open and shared platform for the local government. It's a blend of standards because we recognize that there's no standards for smart cities right now, and it's a blend of digital infrastructure as well. So how will we do this? We will do this basically by having a sharing ecosystem. We're currently building a public sector network, which wherein we gather commitments from the cities, from the communities, from the municipalities as well about our guiding principles. Then we have a network of tech solutions as well. What we notice is uh, the smart technologists, they are looking for places to what they call this to have a proof of concept or to demonstrate their solutions on the ground. So we have a tech network as well, and we have the champions network who really believes in our uh, guiding principle, which are basically openness, transparency, and sharing community in terms of smart cities. So smart city, it's citizens and technology. We want to merge the citizens and technology, and our vision is to have smart communities for all. Why? Because what we notice is that smart cities are usually successful in developed countries, right? Because they have advanced technology, they have better internet. But us in developing countries, we have a lot of transition to be made to achieve this particular to achieve a particular level of smartness that we want to attain. So basically, we want smart communities for all. So again, I'm here to discuss the link between urban planning and smart cities, which is we think is not really in the mainstream right now, and we really want to put it out there. So the premise right now, our premises, number one, smart city concept is a complex one, and the link between urban planning and the link between smart cities are not really clear and not really out right there. And the other one is that there are two future trends, key trends that we have right now. Number one is urbanization, which I will discuss later. And number two is the digital and tech revolution. So we go to urbanization. So what's urbanization? I will what they call this? I will tell you a story. It's basically when I was a kid, I wake up 6 in the morning, and I will heat. I will boil some water because we don't have any heater right now. Back then, so I was like really pissed off because we're not rich, and we only use tabo method. So I was really pissed off during that time until I realized that there's a problem that much worse than having not hot water. In June 2019, I think it's June 2019, there's this problem in Quezon City. And any one of you experienced this problem wherein there's no water at all? Any one of you? I'll check the comment section just in case. Okay. Anyhow, so
what I realized is having no water at all is much worse than having no hot water, right? And on top of that, it's the water is 3 times its price. So what's the cause of this? The cause of this is basically climate change and what? Urbanization. But what really is urbanization? Urbanization is closely linked to the population growth. The denser the population in an area, it will be urbanized later on. And we have to note that cities, the definition of cities is not the same in all countries. But if we check, the definition of cities always include the growing population and the money of an area. So we have to realize that urbanization, if a city here in the Philippines is considered a city, it might be not considered a city in a different country. Okay? So why should you care? You will ask me, okay, bakit naman ako mag-worry? We still have water in our house and I live in the province. The thing is, if we check the projection, by 2050, the urban population will be 95%. And 95% of that urban population will come from where? It will come from Asia and Africa. So where are we? We're in Asia, right? So 95% of the urban population growth in 2050 will come from us. And here I will show you just the challenges that the urbanization brought about. So we really have to realize that even if it's not our concern right now, urbanization challenges will be our concern in the near future. And we already tackled about urbanization. The other what they call is key trend that shapes our future, shapes our cities. It's the digital and tech revolution, which I think most of us can relate really. So here's just what they call this, a background on how there's really a tech revolution. So if you buy, the 1 GB storage in 1981, it will cost us 300,000 but if you buy it today, how much would it cost? Anyone can guess how much would it cost? I think I checked Lazada earlier. It's like 1 gig is only, it's like 100 pesos and it's already free shipping. So the cost of the storage is really getting cheaper and cheaper. And the technology is like really getting cheaper and cheaper. So those key trends, ano yung brought about what? What we realize is we have to transform our cities, which brought about smart city. Basically, smart city wants to address the challenges that urbanization brings and the population growth brings through data and through technology. So let's go a little bit deeper in terms of the smart city concept and history. So the smart city concept and history, if we check the what they call this, the concept of smart cities, it starts during I think 1990s. But before that, there are different related type of cities already. Digital cities was there, and when LAN and when LAN and the telephone was invented, they changed it to intelligent cities. And what do we have in our hands? We have smartphones. When when the smartphones proliferated and when the smartphones are and the internet is already out, they change it to smart cities. So basically, what I'm saying here is that smart cities is not it's not a new concept. So what is a smart city? We should note that there's no universal definition for smart city as well. There are different frameworks as well. So the countries has different framework. The academy has different frameworks, and even the ASEAN has its own smart cities framework. So What but what do they have in common? What they have in common is that smart city smart city is a community that uses data and technology. What's the goal? To improve the quality of life and services it provides to the people in an area. So that's basically the gist of what a smart city is. It's not really about technology, but the main goal of it is to provide really the quality of life and services to the people it serves. But the question is, who will initiate the smart city journey? Whenever we go to a particular local government, they will think that we are a tech company which is selling, technology. Because right now, most of the smart city is initiated by the technologists. So who should really lead the smart city initiatives? So is it the technologists? Is it the urban planners? So currently, as I mentioned earlier, most of the smart city projects, even elsewhere, are initiated by the technologists, and they engage urban planners as only as an afterthought. And they promise, utopia. And it's understandable because smart city really relies on ICT and technology. But is there a problem? The problem is, well, basically, it's a challenge. Most smart cities right now is built from scratch. So they promise a utopia. This is an example of a smart city in Africa, in Johannesburg. It's called a New York in Africa. But the thing is, they bought the land already. They planned it out. The master plans are there, but the thing is they didn't get the buy-in and the support of the community from the outside. So there was like a lot of demonstrations, and a lot of people doesn't like this particular development. So because of that, it was never built really. And right now, I think China bought the land and they're redeveloping it again. So another example of a smart city which is built from scratch is the Eco Atlantic in Nigeria. Well, basically, what happened was there was a flood, and suddenly the whole area was like flooded, and it didn't push through as well. The lesson here is that they didn't engage the community, that they didn't check the environment itself, and they didn't do their due diligence in terms of planning that particular smart city. They only think about, oh, the structures are here, the technology are here, but they didn't check the whole system approach, or the whole society approach of this particular plan. So the what they call this, the lesson here is that utopian tech solutions fail to provide really the answer for the smart cities. I mean, for the city, for the needs of the communities itself. And another challenge in terms of like purely tech smart city is having like a vendor lock-in. Whenever we talk to the local government, they will tell, oh, we don't want to buy your system because we don't want to just buy it and then suddenly no one will just maintain it or something. So in smart cities right now, there's a drive that they really don't want to have a vendor lock-in because they want it to be changed. They want it to be more adaptive and agile as well. So because of the challenges, okay, most urban planners, architects, and even engineers, and even in public sector, once they hear smart cities, they will think, okay, it's just a technology ploy. We don't want to buy it because it doesn't really focus on the physical form, nor the social aspect, and nor the economic aspect. So at first, as a planner myself, at first I thought, okay, it's just a marketing ploy of IBM. It's just a marketing ploy of the tech people. But then when I dug deeper, I realized that that it's not really that way. If you check smart cities, uh, the mainstream smart city is tech focused, but there's a recent development that is more becoming citizen centric, and it's like merging the urban planning and smart cities. So there's really a large gap between the mainstream smart city planning and the planning practices as well. So what I want to voice out here, and what I want to say here, is that we need to close the gap. We need to close the gap between the smart cities and the mainstream smart city and the planning itself. Why? So we go to the next session. Perhaps what is urban planning? If I ask the people here, what do you think is urban planning? Well, urban planning, basically, if we hear it for the first time or something, they would think, oh, it's about architecture, it's about land use plan, it's about engineering. But it's more than that. It's sometimes urban planning can be related to environmental planning as well. It can be what do you call this? It can be related to town planning as well. So there are different types of planning itself. So basically, this is partially correct. But urban planning is not like a goal itself. It's a process wherein it's not really only for urban areas, but also for rural areas. It's not all only for, national development or national plans. It's also for the community plan. So that's basically what urban planning is. So, but what do we really fail to realize? What we fail to realize is urban planning is a diverse and multidisciplinary field, and so is smart city. Another one is that urban planning and smart cities, both of them aims to provide a better quality of life to the people in a particular area. So if we check here, okay. So urban planning and smart city can be applied. Sometimes they will say, oh, it cannot be applied to us because we're a rural area. But it's not the case. It can be applied in both urban and rural area, because both of this is a journey. Both of this is a process itself. Okay. And another one is I want to emphasize that data is the new oil. When urban planning was kind of like invented in the 19th century, it's the answer of a particular area to the industrialized or like oil companies in the cities. It's the answer of the public sector. And when the smart city enters, we have to note that it's the answer in the new data layer in the cities itself. So there's really a link between um, urban planning and smart cities. Okay. And both of which aims to achieve like a balanced development in terms of different dimensions of a community. What are those dimensions? It can be like a physical, social, economic as well. It's not really only the technology. Okay, so what are the smartness and planning alignments? Particular smartness and planning alignment. So here are in the middle here, it's the dimension of urban planning, and the square here are the data layer, service layer, infrastructure layer, which are the dimensions of smart city planning. So smart city layers are like data layer, infrastructure layer, and service layer. It aligns and contributes to all the urban planning dimensions. And smartness and planning as well intersect at different levels. So here, I guess you gotta be smart. So here you will see the alignment and intersections of planning and smart city, wherein the people itself is in the middle of that particular dimensions. So here you will see that we use ICT tools for planning and design. We use ICT tools in citizen engagement as well. And we use the technology in terms, we consider the technology in terms of designing a city as well. So for example, okay, there's a lot of online services right now. How can you design a city with with what they call this, how can you design a city na iniisip mo yung kung paano bigyan ng kung paano yung mas mabuting yung flow ng mga online services or logistics as well. So basically, the technology is affecting the urban fabric. So here, in planning, in terms of if there are like planners out there which is listening, I think we really have to realize that there's the potential of the technology and the potential of the ICT applications in planning practices cannot really be ignored, right? And if you are a technologist as well working in a smart city or something, or smart city application, we have to realize that there's also the urban planning has a key role in terms of smart city applications. So perhaps I'll just go through this really quick. It's the Philippine settings, an overview of the urban planning in the Philippines. So in the Philippines, we have different plans. So different level of plans. We have the city, municipal, provincial, regional, and national. And those plan has two. Those plan has two types, like spatial, which are the land use plans, and the socio-economic, which are the development plans. So most of which are are planned in the city level or in a municipality level. It's under the Local Government Act and the Housing Urban Development Act as well. So here are the what they call this, the common issues of urban and regional planning that we face today. And Smart City as an organization really believes that to address these particular issues, we really need to merge the human-centric planning, which is a specific dimension for urban planning, and the data and technology, which is a specific dimension for smart city planning. So new tools for planning. So I will ask you, are we gonna, solve the same problem with the same approach, right? Are we gonna do the same thing and expect a different result? Of course not, right? So number one is the data-driven design, and this is a new approach: data-driven design and planning. So when you ask me as a planner, I experienced doing like comprehensive land use plans already and all. How do planners gather the data to draft the plans? How do we gather, data in the Philippines in general? I think you guys already experienced this as well during your college days. So basically Excel sheets. Not that there's anything wrong with, Excel sheets, but yeah, we gather data through Excel sheets. Anyhow, and on top of that, we use it come from different sources. We call, an agency. We have to call another agency, and we have to call another agency. Okay, so another one. You have to request, and it takes a lot of time to request from. We have the freedom of information law, but when you do planning, it takes a lot of time for us to get the resources that we need. But it really depends. I guess it really depends on the city that you are planning as well. If they have the data, then it's easier. But most municipalities doesn't have their own data, and they rely on the national government. Okay, so because of that, I think Smart City has a really huge promise in terms of gathering data, right? So here enters the IoT, big data, and all. So I think the technologists and the planners itself need to work together. Why? Because the planners really need the quality and consistency of data. And for the smart city practitioners, data is always at the heart of any smart city initiatives. And of course, due to that, we will have data-driven and better decision making. So another approach in terms of planning is having a real-time data and simulations as well. So currently in the Philippines, we have long-term approach in terms of planning. We have a few plans which are short-term, but most of the big plans uh, are long-term. Okay, what's the problem with this? The problem with this is uh, in the actual implementation. For example, we will plan that this particular area or this particular city or municipality is for agricultural development. But suddenly there will be a change of governance or change of mayor. He is not required. The mayor is not really required to follow the former plan. He can he can just push for industrial development. And there's a problem with that because it's basically irreversible. The changes that we made in land use and all is irreversible. So in terms of the smart city approach in planning, smart city approach is more agile. And I don't know about political, but yeah, we should just focus on more agile, I guess. Anyhow, it is like for smart city, as an organization, we believe that it is crucial for the communities to have more agile approach nowadays to promptly respond to the new scenarios. Okay, so this one is just an example. Like imagine the case of like later on we will have like autonomous vehicles, right? Can we perhaps we create an extra lane during rush wherein it's a car lane during rush hour, then at night it can be a pedestrian, right? So perhaps in planning and even in infrastructure we can be more agile as well. Okay, so enters the simulations, and the glossy plans are the big plans of smart cities or the master plans of the cities itself. So perhaps we should consider using simulations rather than focusing more on the glossy plans, which is so there. I guess what I want to say here is a new approach is needed because technology would continue to bring disruptions to the cities itself. So number 3 is making sense of data. Making sense of data, meaning it's in terms of urban planning, we use ICTs, we use technologies, right? But the thing is, there are a lot of issues right there. We need to discuss about the data security and data privacy as well. So what we try to say here is that the data analyst and the data scientists should be part of the planning process as well. Okay, so number 4 would be the top-down, bottom-up. So merging the top-down and bottom-up. In terms, currently, the approach in urban planning, it's mostly top-down. Even if they say it's participatory, it's not. It's very limited. So how? I mean, we usually do committee hearings. Public consultations, but we should ask ourselves how effective are those particular like approach, right? So here's a new approach which is called digital twins, which even the citizens itself can participate in terms of planning. So technology plays like a facilitating role, giving way to a new and more effective channel through which the citizens, the people in an area can contribute and collaborate in terms of urban planning. So if we check, urban planning stresses, the importance of the citizens in planning. And if we check the smart city approach, the smart city approach basically just adds and uses technologies to involve the citizens as well. Okay, so in urban planning, it stresses interconnectivity, while in smart city, it stresses on top of interconnectivity of infrastructure, it stresses interoperability and openness, resulting to a real and more efficient citizen-centric urban planning. So perhaps the planners there would think, okay, so does this mean the planners will later be obsolete and be replaced by robots and technologies? I believe so. It's not the case. Why? Because the goal of smart city is not really to automate the process and to minimize the role of planners and designers as well. It is to basically to aid and to make it more efficient for us to do to process the data and to have a better decision making. Okay, so to wrap it up, so in conclusion, smartness should not come from the IT sector as alone. The inclusiveness should not come from the urban planning alone, but I believe that they should work together in terms of achieving the real goal of smart cities and the smart communities. So both technologists, I think both technologists, the smart city technologists and the urban planners should learn the implications of ICT and technologies in any urban and rural development. Because in Smart City as an organization, we believe that collaboration is the new competition. And the technologists and the planners should work together to achieve the real goal of smartness. And sharing, of course, sharing is the key. So that's it. We are smart citizens and let's become smarter together. So here's the Google Classroom link wherein I saved the document for the presentation as well. And if you have any questions about what I've discussed about, you can follow us in Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. And that's it. Thank you for listening. It's quite long, but I hope you guys, understand everything. And just
Hi, Chris. Thank
to email
you.
us just in
You
case you
gave
have any other
us
questions. Thank
in-depth
you.
knowledge. Hi, Chris. Thank you. You gave us in-depth knowledge about how smart cities are rooted from urbanization and tech. So we as individuals can really make a way or contribute in our own simple way, or maybe we can collaborate. So I think I still have a pending meeting with you. I'll definitely book it on my calendar next week. So, as promised earlier, we will have a game. So, this game will have a preliminary game first. So, hindi pa kung sino yung manalo dito sa part na to, siya na yung mag-uwi ng Google Home Mini. So this is a preliminary game. So first, this will be a Q&A. So yung mechanics ng game natin is first three na tama at mauna yung sagot sa comment on the YouTube link will have to message GTGPH page on Facebook to para ibibigay namin yung stream link so you can enter on the stream later after our next speaker. So is it clear, everyone? Let me check. Hello? Okay, so for our first question, just comment sa YouTube if may questions kayo. So for our first question, before I forgot, one of the mechanics of the game is that yung tama na last time during our Women Techmakers Manila on May 9 will be disqualified for this event. Okay, so can I show their names or wag na lang? Anyway, so our first question who is the parent company of Google? Okay, so I think meron ng 3. Please make sure na yung first 3, one of our organizers is taking note kung sino yung first 3 na magsasabi ng tamang answer. Please message us on our GDG page para makuha niyo yung link to our StreamYard link. Then later on, we will have the game. So let me introduce our next speaker. So as I've mentioned earlier, our sponsors have been very supportive in this initiative of us in almost all GDG events. Of course, thank you so much to Accenture. So our next speaker. But let me ask first, who here are designers or aspiring designers? I know most of you are designers. So, well, designers or not, I know that our next discussion is really something interesting, as we all know about inclusive design from one of our sponsors, Accenture, specifically from their UX engineering senior analyst and design thinking facilitator, Catherine Salgado.
Hi everyone. Good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining me here and thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to share with you guys more about inclusive design. Started getting a little bit rainy, so hopefully it doesn't mess with my connectivity, but let's get started and learn more about inclusive design. So I'll be sharing my screen. Okay, I hope you can see it now. So as I mentioned, my name is Kai Salgado. I'm a UX designer and design thinking facilitator at Accenture's Liquid Studio Manila. So usually in design thinking workshops, we start with our intros and we add in a fun fact. So I really want to keep this more conversational and casual. So feel free to comment down below on the comment box your own fun facts about yourself. So I just wanted to share more about me. So one fun fact about me is that I love anything handmade. So I love DIY and I love making my own jewelry. So if it's bracelets, necklaces, you name it. So, and another fun fact about me is my career wasn't always in tech. So in fact, I feel like my journey has just begun. So I started out with a degree in industrial design. So it was more about doing things with your hands, making furniture, products, 3D printing, and really just building things with your hands. And then from there, when I graduated, I really felt more inclined to graphic design. So that's sort of where I started off my career in graphic design. And I got hired in a tech startup as a graphic designer. And that's where sort of my love for tech really started to bloom. That's where I learned more about user experience design. That's where I learned more about data science and all of these technologies. And that's when I transferred to Accenture as well, because I wanted to really go with my career in UX design. So I'm excited to see a lot of your fun facts in the comment section below. So I'll look through that later on so I can get to know you guys a little bit more. So let me just share with you a little bit more about design thinking. So I wanted to give you guys a little overview on design thinking and what it really is all about. So different organizations have their own processes and methods, but in Accenture, we use form design thinking. So what we do is we discover, we describe, we co-create, we scale, and we sustain. So I'm going to drill down a little bit on this later on. There are also other organizations and design agencies that have their own versions, such as IDEO, Luma Institute, and Strategizer. So these are some of the companies that really spearheaded the design thinking movement. And all these agencies, including Accenture's design thinking practice, uses this double diamond approach that you see here in the slide in the lower part, the orange diamonds. So this double diamond approach is really where there's a divergence and convergence of ideas. So as you can see here, the first divergence is with empathy. So this is the part where you gather all the data. So it's a divergence because you gather as much data as possible, where you really try to get as much information about the problem. And then the next one is the convergence. This is where we define and we filter out from all the data that we got previously, which ones do we really need? Which ones are the important data? And then the second convergence of the diamond is the ideation part. So it converges again it converges again because this part we try to do as much ideation as we can. We think of creative solutions that can solve the problem that we previously mentioned. And then the next convergence is when we sort of pick which one would be the best solution to our problem statement. So one more thing that these companies and Accenture have in common with our design thinking practice is empathy. So empathy is actually the core of design thinking. So it's really being able to put yourself in the shoes of the people experiencing the problem. So I'm just gonna give you an overview of what form design thinking is. So form's definition of design thinking is applying a human-centered approach to understand people's needs, spot opportunities, and develop more meaningful solutions through collaboration and co-creation. And this is something that we really do with our clients. So we try to create solutions with them instead of just asking them what they need and us just doing it on our own. We really like sort of like the collaboration that we have with our clients. So I'll just walk you through the different phases of design thinking. So the first one is discover. So discover is where we really gather data. This is like the research portion. So as I said, we get as much information as we can, maybe past data that the customer had, and we gather as much insight with no biases. So these are the activities that we do during the discover phase. We do observation, which we also call fly on the wall. So we during our design thinking workshops, we really make them go out into the field. So where the problem is happening. So for example, if our problem statement goes around, let's say, give me one example in the Philippines that's really a big problem, which is transportation. So if transportation is our problem, we'll really let our participants go out on the streets, sort of observe the buses, the MRT, and sort of just write down what they feel. So without asking these people who are riding the buses and everything, they would just write down on their own with no biases. Just what they see is what they write down. And then next is learning from the extremes. So this is where inclusive design actually comes in. And I'm going to drill down on learn from the extremes more later on because this is more of the focus of our talk. And then the third one is territory mapping, where we zoom out and we sort of look at the bigger picture and look at what other factors are affecting this ecosystem. So that's for the discover phase. And then the next one is the describe phase. So for the describe phase, this is where we really filter out the information from the discover phase and we see what is really important. And then from filtering that out, we get to see what really is the problem statement that we have. So by the end of the discover phase, we would already have our final problem statement that we would want to solve by the end. And then lastly is the co-creation. So the co-creation, as I said, since we already have our problem, the main problem that we want to solve, this is where we innovate. We think of creative solutions. And then, so that's during the 4-part sketch activity here. And then with all those ideas that come in, of course, we have to prioritize which one would be the best solution. So we do that through idea prioritization. So that's where we rank the ideas that we have in terms of how impactful it is and maybe how difficult it is to implement. And then lastly, when we already come up with a final idea that we think would be best, we would then create a prototype. Of course, the prototype would just be very simple prototype. It could be a storyboard. It could be even body storming. So body storming is when you act out the solution. So we have a lot of that in our workshops, and it's really fun to see the creative juice of the participants come out. So that's basically the overview of design thinking. So now that you guys have an overview of the design thinking process, I want to double click and expound more on our main topic for today, which is inclusive design. So this is Kat Holmes. She's the director for user experience at Google, and she's one of the ones who spearheaded the inclusive design movement. She's also the author of the book here, Mismatch, which explains all about how inclusion shapes design. So what exactly is inclusive design? I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it, but let me just share a little bit more. It's really interesting, so I'm excited about this. So the working definition was developed at Microsoft. They described it as a methodology that enables and draws on the full range of human diversity. Most importantly, this means including and learning from people with a range of perspectives. So this is the working definition, but I want to share with you guys a little bit more about it. So what exactly does inclusive design mean? So for an example here, to make you guys understand it a little bit better, it's like, for example, you were tasked to design a playground or a park. Usually you would just think, oh, let's put a slide, let's put a swing, let's put random things that you think children would like, maybe monkey bars. But inclusive design is thinking about, would everyone be able to interact with that park or that playground? For example, a toddler who's just learning to crawl, how would the toddler be able to play in the park? Perhaps you can put a sandbox. Perhaps you can put also maybe that tube that they can crawl through. So it's really thinking with the diverse people that are present, how can everyone be able to interact with this space? Not only this space, it could also be a product. So that's something I find really interesting. So in design thinking, we use this approach. It's called learning from the extremes. So basically, learning from the extremes is an activity that basically says, if you focus on the needs of the extreme users, then it would touch upon the needs of all the mainstream users. So extreme users, for in the example here, in the right side, the one example of an extreme user is a PWD. And then on the other opposite end, it will be a person who's very mobile, maybe someone who's a track and field runner. And then everyone in the middle would be average people. So what it's saying is, if you touch upon the needs of the extreme users, which is the PWD and the track and field runner, then basically all the mainstream users would be touched upon as well. So that's the concept that we have with learning from the extreme. So how to do this? What we usually do is we make our participants write down in Post-its. So it's really what we do in design thinking is we use Post-its. I know people have this misconception that all they do is use Post-its, but it doesn't have a point. But Post-its are actually very versatile. So that's why we use them. You can move them around. You can change the structure of things. And the input that you have there is really good. So what we do is we ask them to create a list of ages. Maybe it's baby boomers, Gen Z, millennials, and then maybe income level as well. Maybe they're earning less than this or whatever, and maybe their occupation as well. You could also add modes of transportation and things like that. So we make them map that all out, and then what they do next is they would identify, out of all these factors, which ones do you think would be extreme users of our certain problem statement of our certain product? And then it's just basically saying that maybe those people are the ones that should be your target market. So it's a pretty powerful activity. Maybe you guys can also practice it on your own. So yeah. And then after that, you would come up with sort of like this. So this is actually one of the examples we had from our design thinking workshops. And then the circled one is basically the demographics of the extreme user that they picked. For example, also, we actually had a design thinking workshop virtually. So during this COVID season, we were able to, of course, design thinking workshops are very much more valuable in person, but doing it virtually was also very different. Like, we were able to do it in a really good way. There are lots of tools out there that we used, like mural and whiteboard, white space. So it was actually just as good as doing it in person. But of course, it's still different, but we still learned a lot. So one example that we gave is the high-level problem statement was about COVID. So we said, what problems do you usually experience during this time? And then some of their answers were saying, oh, it's so hard for me to teach my children and at the same time do work. So maybe, and then they were able to respect the teachers a lot more also. I mean, of course, teachers are really respected, but now they understand the struggle of really controlling your children and teaching them and not getting frustrated. So what we did is their solution sort of said, the solutions they gave were sort of like, oh, what if there was more instructions that the teacher can give or send us so that we know how to handle the children or how to teach them a certain activity. But the those are for the mainstream users. Those are for just regular people who don't know how to really um, connect with their connect well with their children in terms of teaching them, because of course that's not really something that they do on a daily basis while doing their jobs. So the extreme users that they picked were like, what if the people don't even have internet? How will the teachers be able to send the materials to the parents? And that's also another heartbreaking thing, like posts I've seen, like because everything is going online now, especially that children are not allowed to go back to school. Another one that I saw is like a grandma trying to buy a smartphone for her apo. So it was really sad to see that, because just to be able to learn, you have to have a smartphone. But what if you pick your extreme users to be these people who live in the province who don't have internet connection? So if we can solve their problems, then everyone's problems would probably also be touched on. So that's the whole concept of learning from the extremes. So here's another quote. This one is from the inclusive design leader Susan Goldsman. So this one, she's one of the mentors of Cat Homes actually, and she said that inclusive design doesn't mean you're designing one thing for all people. So what you're doing is you're designing a diversity of ways to participate so that everyone has a sense of belonging. So that's basically it. I think it summarizes what inclusive design is in a really short but sweet way. So that's one from Susan Goldsman. So next, there's actually a lot of confusion between inclusive design in relation to other terms. For example, universal design or accessibility. So they're actually related or interconnected to one another, but they're still very much different. So I'll start first with accessibility. So accessibility is more of an attribute or a characteristic of something as compared to inclusive design, which focuses more on the method of designing. But what's interesting here is that accessibility actually stemmed from policies or laws. So, for example, there was a Disabilities Act that was passed in the 90s, which is what started really making wheelchair access more of a standard when it comes to architecture. So, that's one example of where accessibility really started. And then moving on to universal design. So, this is one of the ones that people really interchange with inclusive design. So the more important point here is that it's a one size fits all type of thing. So a design that was so it's basically the design that has the widest range of situations that everyone can use. So the example I chose is an automatic door because it uses sensors to detect if someone is there, right? So it's universal in a way that someone in a wheelchair doesn't have to think, oh, how am I gonna push the heavy door? But at the same time, it can also be used for someone who's just carrying loads of supermarket bags. So it also caters to all like small children, and maybe they don't have to think like, oh, I can't reach the door. So the sensor already does that for them. So I think an automatic door is a good example for universal design. And then finally, we have inclusive design. So if universal design is a one size fits all type of thing, inclusive design naman, one size fits one. So it focuses more on the process of designing and innovating. And also it's usually a tech or digital innovation. So an example for this is how they created audiobooks for the visually impaired. So now these people have the option to listen to stories rather than to just use their sense of touch through Braille, right? So to dig even deeper, let's go through three major principles of inclusive design. So the first one is recognize exclusion. So why is there exclusion in the first place? So in design, exclusion happens because, to put it simply, we all have our own biases of how things work. Like how would I design things? Like why would I design things in a certain way? Because in my head, I'm the one who's gonna use it. But in reality, right, what about everybody else? How are they gonna use this product? So it's really more of a shift in mindset, I think, and being more aware, because as innovators or designers or even business owners, it's like you're choosing who will be included or excluded from using your product. So it's actually nice the visual we have here. Back in the olden times, disability was seen as a personal health condition. So maybe someone who's mute, someone who's blind. But then now we really look at disability as a mismatched human interaction. So it's really in a more positive light. It's not excluding them from the environment. It's just saying, oh, there's a mismatch in the things they have and how they use it. So the next one is learning from diversity. So when you're trying to discover how people adapt or even what their motivations are and things, you get so much data for regulating it. So yeah, you can use an eye mask, you can use earplugs, and then you can try and act how they would interact with things, but it's still very much different. So the best way to do this is to really spend time with these people and see how they interact with everyday things, because from there might you might have that moment of how it can be. And then lastly, the third principle is solve for one, extend to many. So as I said earlier, inclusive design is one size fits one, but the reality is that Hi everyone. Sorry that we all know the whole virtual, this whole new way of working. There are lots of things that happen. So maybe it's just with the connection. The weather's also a little bit uh, back and forth. But yeah, let me just share my screen again and sort of start again where we left off. By the way, if you guys have any questions about inclusive design, just feel free to put them in the comment box. Maybe if we have time after this, I can do a short Q&A. So I think I stopped here. So yeah, so for the third one, it's just solve for one, extend to many. Yeah, so as I said earlier, inclusive design is a one size fits one, but in reality, like learning from the extremes, the solution for the extreme user may also end up benefiting from the mainstream users. The example here is captioning. So it was initially created for people hard of hearing, but eventually they were used for many things. So for example, it could also now be used for announcements in really noisy places, for example, an airport. And then another one would be teaching children also. So it can all be some foreign films too. So there are many design innovations that at first seem like it has a certain user in mind, but eventually benefits the majority. So now we'll go through different use cases so that you guys can understand it a little bit more. Like it's better to actually see it, right? What are the inclusive design innovations that we have? So it doesn't have to be huge or massive to be life changing. Can also be about building on top of something that's already existing and modifying it. So for example, a flexible or bendy straw. Do you guys know how that was invented? So you guys can feel free to put it in the box, but I'll keep making cuento how this flexible straw was actually invented. So the story is a man entered an ice cream parlor with his daughter. And then when they ordered milkshakes. And when it got to the table, so of course, if you're a little girl, right, you go into the ice cream parlor, and when you sit down, the table's probably already this high for you. And then you order a milkshake, and it arrives, and it's probably this high. And then you have a straw sticking up on top. So if you try to drink from your seat, of course, with a straight straw, I mean, there's a possibility that it would tip over and spill all over you. So what her dad did is he made construction on the straw to be able to bend it. And then these straws were made. So what he did is also, so far at first it was for children, right? He made it for his child. But eventually it branched out to more markets like hospitals. So for people who are bedridden and have to drink from like a tilted position. And then also eventually it just became something that we all now use. So that's one example. So as I said, it can be something as tiny or as simple as straw, but it can also be something as complex as this. So this is a really amazing innovation that I saw. So this is a museum in Madrid that decided to create a 3D printed exhibit of famous paintings so that the visually impaired can be able to somehow see through feeling the textures and extrusions. So of course, traditionally, there were always braille descriptions in the site that they could read the descriptions of the paintings. It's just different if they can feel it and touch it. So it will enhance the experience for them so more. And of course, for others, it's also a new exhibit to be able to see these 3D printed paintings. So I have one last innovation to share with you guys that I think is really awesome. So it's another groundbreaking innovation. It's called Blockbuster. So this innovation was made actually by my colleagues at Accenture. Unfortunately, they weren't able to join us today, but I'll try my best to share with you guys what it's all about because I really got inspired by what they created. So the inspiration behind their Blockbuster innovation was this. So they saw an Instagram story by a guy named Niall DeMarco. So basically, it said this: what happens when deaf people go to movie theaters? Actually, here locally, I don't know if we have this, but Niall DeMarco showed his experience doing it. Um, hold on, I think we have some difficulties again. Okay. So I'll just keep going. Okay, guys. I hope you guys can just bear with me and follow me. We just have a few last slides, but I really want to share this innovation with you guys. So what? So his basically Niall DeMarco asked what happens when deaf people go to the movie theaters. So what they do apparently? Well, I think this is more of abroad. They have this contraption that they can ask for in the movie theater that sort of captions the movies. So Niall DeMarco showed his whole process of doing it. So here I'll actually play a video, but I'll be talking over it. So he's basically showing what his experiences of going to movies. So he's deaf, by the way. So they have this caption that they bring them into the movie house. And then what they did is it actually made them more embarrassed because what you do is you put it in the cup holder, the bottom part, it's on the cover, so you can view it now. So what's happening is it wasn't staying in place, it kept falling over. And then the screen itself is so big that it's like covering most of the screen. So how are you able to enjoy it, right? Like if it's covering the screen, you have to read it or go on. Then experienced also is that the captions were wrong. So imagine how embarrassing it is to be watching a movie, trying to understand. You know, you're putting yourself out there already, and then you're trying to understand the what's happening in the movie, and the captions are like from a different movie. So they just ended up leaving. The movie house gave them free tickets, but they said it themselves, like, I'm not going back. It's just so embarrassing. They were saying, oh, we should just stay home. So imagine how they when they have this. So what Accenture did is this. So this is called Blockbuster. It's a prototype they made. So imagine from the original price of the existing device, which is 3,000 USD for one, okay, we were able to make this Blockbuster with just 200 USD. So that's 93% cheaper. And then what they did also, so these are the sort of technologies that they use. They use augmented reality, they use speech recognition and ambient noise recognition. And what's cool about this is very much inclusive of design because they also they got all these insights from interns. So we have deaf interns at Accenture, and they were really able to work hand in hand with our team at Accenture to build this product. So this is how Blockbuster works. They're watching movies, they just have those glasses on, and it's through. So they can see the captions at the bottom of the screen. I think it's a smart way of putting it, and also with the cost that they were able to do it at, I think it's just really life changing for these people. Like for us, we wouldn't even think of watching a movie as a hassle. Imagine for these people, what if they wanna go out and watch a movie with their friends? Now they can do it through Blockbuster. So I just want to share that. And then sort of what's next for Blockbuster? Because right, I said inclusive design. Usually, it's 1:1. So they made this for deaf people, but what's next for Blockbuster? They're actually thinking of using this also to translate things. So if you're watching a foreign film or your favorite K-drama, it would be able to already sense the noise and then translate it into English. So as I said, you can always start with the extremes and then build towards satisfying also the needs of the mainstream users. So that's those are just a few of the innovations that are present that are inclusive in design. But my challenge for you guys is really like maybe the next time you create a product, the next time you create websites, or even just the next time you're out, be more observant of the things around you, because maybe you'll never know there are things out there that you can definitely make a difference for. So actually they won contests for this both internally for Accenture and also externally. So they won international awards for this innovation as well. So It was a really good innovation that they created, and that's just some of the things that are possible with technology nowadays. So I know a lot of you guys are designers, tech people, and business people. So just think about being more inclusive the next time you create your next product or website, anything inclusive in design, and just use this as inspiration for your next steps. So I'll check if there are any questions right now. But then, yeah, I just want to say thank you guys for joining me. And I'll try to reply and answer to all your questions on the comment box. So thanks so much for joining me today. And enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe. And then also, I just wanted to invite you guys to follow Accenture PH page on Facebook and Instagram. Because actually, we also have like series of webinars. So since you guys are very much into tech, we have different topics that we discuss on a day, I think daily basis or weekly basis. So before, I also had a webinar there on UX design, and we also had one on design thinking, and they're also about web development also. So if you can just follow Accenture PH page on Facebook and Instagram, that would be great. And then, yeah, let's keep connecting and keep innovating together. Thanks for joining me, everyone.
Thank you, Miss Kai. And of course, thank you, Accenture. Actually, from your talk, one of the things that really inspires me is this quote. Inclusive design doesn't mean you're designing one thing for all people. You're designing a diversity of ways to participate so that everyone has a sense of belonging. Belonging in a sense that really tech can really help each one of us. Thank you, Miss Kai.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Keep safe. So that's it for our speaker from Accenture. So don't forget to please support our beneficiary for today's event, the Rise Movement. So they have Manila and Cebu beneficiaries. Bank accounts are flashed on screen. So for our game, so as I promised earlier, we have 3 winners from our preliminary game. So right now, they're on. As per the team, 2 pa lang yung nandito. So I hope yung isa na nanalo kanina will be with us. We have Harvey and Aaron on the stream. So si Joshim, I hope you already have the link and please join us now. Okay, so he's here. So ipa-flash na ba natin sila sa screen? Okay, so just to remind everyone about our mechanics, let me have a quick background first of what will be our mechanics for this game. So, the game is Bring Me! So, kaya sila ipa-flash sa screen kasi magbibigay sila sa atin ng mga items ngayon na hihingin ko. So, the full mechanics will be flashed on screen. So, I think medyo may konting delay lang due to internet connection. Hi, Harvey.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Aaron.
Hi.
Hi, Joshim. Hi, so welcome to Women Techmakers Manila. So napaka-women nyo naman talaga nga naman, oh. Just kidding. So we're promoting diversity here in Women Techmakers Manila. So again, welcome. So for the full mechanics of the game, mayroon akong sasabihin or if a flash na items. So just a typical bring me game. So kailangan nyo siyang dalhin on screen, but wait for 3 seconds before you go and find that item. So,
Okay.
Okay,
Ready?
come.
Huh?
Hi, this is G. So medyo doon sa stream natin. So while we are waiting for Faye, pwedeng quick introduction lang of the players. We have Harvey, Aaron, and Joachim. Tama ba yung pronunciation ko? Harvey, we know you are part of the tama?
Yeah. So, to introduce myself.
Sure.
Okay, so, hi guys, I'm Harvey. Yeah, nagulat na lang ako na part pala ako ng top 3 sa game. I just answered it. Yeah, pero, quick introduction, I'm undergraduate student in Ateneo and one of the DSC leads, Developer Student Club leads for Ateneo de Manila University. Yeah, so, siguro quick plug in if you're a student right now that is interested, to be a DSC lead in your university, apply now at g.co/dev/DSC. Yeah, so that's it. Hi guys, happy to be part of the game and thank you Women Techmakers for creating this event.
Okay, thank you, Harvey. We have Aaron as well. Quick intro
Hi
lang.
guys, everyone. My name is Aaron. I am currently a tech support representative here in Pampanga. Besides that, I'm a freelance front-end developer kapag may time. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to GDG for this event, Women Techmakers Manila. And I've been in your events like too many times in IOs, in DevFest, and this one. So congrats po.
Yeah, thank you for your support. Actually, familiar nga yung name mo sa akin. Lagi ko yata.
So okay na ako dito.
Okay. Then we have Joachim. Tama ba yung pronunciation namin? Ay, nakamute ka?
Parang
Yan.
familiar yung may naka-mute plus.
Ay, wala pa din. Nakamute yung mic mo.
Hello? Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello.
Ayan. Yan.
Ah. So, Joachim po.
Joachim.
My name is
Okay.
Papa Joachim. 21 years old, graduating student from PUP Manila. So, ngayon tambay lang po sa bahay, nood-nood lang ng webinars. I'm BS Computer Engineering po.
Okay, from PUP daw, Madam Faye.
Okay, so siya na yung winner. Nakapag-decide na ako. May winner na tayo. So proud PUPian here.
Okay, so I will give the floor to Faye to do the game. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you also.
Okay. So as mentioned kanina, the mechanics of the game is a typical bring me game. So you have to wait 3 seconds before nyo kunin yung item na hinihingi namin. And the first person who can get the item should shout, "Together we rise." Then, paunahan makakuha ng points. So we will be asking you for 3 items. So 3 items lang yun. So paunahan makakuha ng maraming points. Clear naman yung mechanics natin?
Clear.
Yes.
Okay, so good luck, guys. Okay, so for our first item, antayin niyo yung count ko na 3 before you leave, ha?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
next item, first item, please. Bring a face mask. 1, 2, 3, go!
Hey, together we
Together we
rise.
rise.
Sinong nauna? Oh my gosh, ang hirap. Yung GEG, Kumiki, sinong nauna?
Hindi na ako maghahanap, nahanap na nila.
Si Diroy yung nauna.
Si Aaron. Okay, Aaron
Yeah.
gets 1 point.
Bilis
Next.
nyo, naka-ready na. Ay, dito.
Laging
Next.
handa.
Next item. 5 peso coin.
Wala ako.
1, 2, 3, go!
Oh my God. Together we rise. Tama ba? Five.
Together we rise.
Okay, congrats, Aaron. Last.
Hey.
Teka lang, nagpapabarya pa yata si Harvey. Yan.
Harvey, kasi naman, bakit 2,000 pesos na buo yung pera mo?
Hindi Wala akong pala dito
But I think kahit hindi na tayo mag last item kasi dalawa na si Aaron. So, siya na yung paano no? 3 items lang tayo eh. We only have 3 items, so nanalo na si Aaron.
kasi yun eh.
Sorry na.
Harvey, next event, push natin yung pagpabarya mo.
Okay lang, sige.
Thank you so much, Harvey and Joshim. Congrats, Aaron. So, a GG organizer will contact you in a while. Thank
Alright,
you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Stay safe.
Okay po.
Event really was supported by our sponsors. This is powered by Google, co-presented by Accenture Technology, and in cooperation with Cloudstaff. So, for our next speaker, please watch this AVP.
All right. To introduce our next speaker, she is a special colleague of GDG Philippines. She is one of our volunteers here in GDG Philippines, currently the finance head. But by her profession, she is a cybersecurity specialist. Let's welcome Ms. Joy Toledo as she discussed about cybersecurity in the midst of pandemic. So let me just put on Joy on the stream. Yeah. Joy, you are on mute.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And yeah, I'm also having technical difficulties on my side. So yeah, let's start. Anyway, welcome. Thank you for giving time to watch my session today. So we will be discussing cybersecurity, or how to be cyber safe in these times of pandemic. So next slide, please. Okay, so for those who want to access the slides later on, I've already posted the slides on the Google Classroom. So you may access that using the Google Classroom code, which is posted on your screens. And next slide, please. So yeah, to introduce myself, I am Joy Toledo, and I've been working or I've been a volunteer in GDG Philippines since 2017. So yeah, I'm also working in the cybersecurity field for almost, or for more than 2 years already. Next slide, please. So right now, since we are facing this pandemic, since many of us are working remotely, we should also be aware on how to be secure online. Since most of us are working from home, we are doing homeschooling and such. So we are not just only doing this for ourselves, but since yun nga, nag-work from home yung iba sa atin, we are also protecting the assets of the organizations where we belong. Next slide. So, bakit important yung cybersecurity? So, first, it emphasizes the CIA, or yung ibig sabihin ng CIA is yung confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So, kaya siya important kasi it is protecting our personal and sensitive information. It also enables us to carry out our jobs and our education and research. And also, it is supporting critical business process. Next slide. So, do I need to learn and be aware of cybersecurity? So, yan yung tanong ng karamihan sa atin. Bakit yun naman po problemahin yan? Eh, dapat ano lang ng IT yan. Problema lang ng IT guys yan. Actually, next slide. Lahat tayo, since most of us are using mobile devices, most of us are spending time online since lahat tayo naka-stay at home lang. So, cybersecurity is everyone's responsibility. And ayun nga, as I've said, it is not just our IT department's problem, but it is also or we have to take part on it to secure the assets and data, personal, mapa-personal or mapa-work. But on a personal note, as a cybersecurity professional, ayun nga, we do advise people, and also we are responsible inside the organization na mag-disseminate ng information on how to be cyber safe. Next slide. So, ayan. Good security standards follow 90/10 rule. So, ano bang ibig sabihin nito? Yung 10%, those are technical. Yung security safeguards na yon, those are the technical stuff. Like yung mga naka-deploy in an organizational setting, yan yung mga naka-deploy na mga security tools such as antivirus, firewall, etc. And yung 90%, which is yung nagtitake ng big part doon sa cybersecurity or yung good security standards, is tayo.
tayong mga computer users or yung mga end users. Simply because we are the weakest link in the security. So next slide. Ayan. So all of us needs to be aware and be educated on how to be cyber safe, since most of us during these times are always online, facing our devices such as handheld device, smartphones, and laptops. Next slide. So, ayun. Bakit ba ginagawa or ano ba yung nagmo-motivate sa mga cyber attackers na gawin yung mga cyber attacks na to? Next slide. Simply because these cyber attacks happen because of financial gain. Yan yung pinaka number one. And aside from that, making a social or political point. For example, yung hacktivism, or meron silang mga gustong iparating na hindi talaga napapansin. So, by doing those, yung cyber attacks, yun yung ginagawa nila, or yun yung nagiging way nila para iparating kung ano man yung point nila na gusto nilang iparating sa karamihan. And espionage. So, for example, spying sa mga competitors. And the last one is yung intellectual challenge. So, for example, is yung white hat hacking. So, ayun nga, they would like to measure their skills by doing those kinds of cyber attacks. Next slide, please. So, social engineering. So, since ayun nga, nasabi ko na kanina na hindi nga tayo pwede lumabas nowadays, ganun din yung mga cyber attackers. Nagstay lang din sila at home. So, since marami silang time ngayon, marami tayong lahat time. So, sila rin marami ding time. So, natitake nila yung advantage na to to check po yung mga weekend cyber or weekend security postures ng mga organizations. So, given the current situation, it is possible that cyber attackers attacks, especially those who are fueled by financial and political motives, that will prove a particularly dangerous threat during this time. Next slide. So, ayun, we will discuss social engineering. So, social engineering is the practice of obtaining confidential information by manipulation of legitimate users. So, ang isang social engineer, it will commonly use email, internet, and yung telephone para i-trick or i-deceive yung mga tao para ma-reveal nila yung sensitive information na kailangan nila to do something na for their benefit, o kaya to use it against against that person na ina-attack nila, or to do something that is against policy. So, maraming mga social engineering tactics yung pwedeng mangyari, like phishing which is voice phishing, impersonation, and others. So, sobrang dami ng social engineering tactics. Next slide. So, yan, since we, as I've said earlier, that as users, we are the weakest link when it comes to cybersecurity. We need to be knowledgeable, or kailangan natin maging aware on what are the best practices para ma-avoid natin yung mga gantong incidents, or para ma-avoid natin yung gantong mga threats. Next slide. So nowadays, since ayun nga, we are encouraged to focus on remote work dahil nga bawal tayong lumabas. Ayun, so because of technology, we are allowed to continue to work even at home, to communicate, and to live the new normal. Which is, ayun nga, nagre-rely tayo sa latest technology para matapos natin yung ano man na dapat natin gawin sa work natin, sa school, and such. So, yun. So, next slide. Ayan, since in these times, the price of all this technology-bred convenience is weakened security. So, habang nag-a-advance yung technology natin, syempre, nag-a-advance din yung knowledge ng mga cyber attackers. So, the tools that we are using to continue our work, yung business operations natin, online classes for students, during this pandemic are also opened up to wider range of vulnerabilities and potential cyber attacks. Next slide. So, there are common types of cyber attacks. So, ayun, i-discuss natin is yung common types of cyber attacks. First is yung phishing. So, what is phishing? Next slide. So, phishing is the fraudulent attempt to obtain sensitive information such as usernames, password, and credit card details by disguising oneself as a trustworthy entity. So, ayun, kaya ginagawa yung mga gantong cyber attacks like yung phishing para makuha ng mga cyber attackers yung mga gantong information. Since during this pandemic, there have been multiple reports about the increasing numbers of scams. So, yung mga nababalitaan natin sa TV, like yung mga, yung student pa lang, nangi-scam na sila ng ibang tao by sending phishing emails to other people. So, yun. Aside from that, marami ding phishing attacks regarding coronavirus since yun yung current situation natin right now. So, for that, we need to watch out those kinds of potential phishing attacks that are trying to infect our computers, so or our devices. So next, yan. So yung slide na yan, so makikita ninyo yung image. Yan ay isang example ng phishing link from or na look alike PayPal. So, hindi talaga siya from PayPal. So, on that case, you may see na yung sender is using hostgator.com domain. So, ibig sabihin, hindi talaga siya originally galing from PayPal. Kasi, mapapansin nyo pa lang, dun sa may upper part, dun yung makikita yun. Yung sender ng email is gumagamit ng hostgator.com. So, instead of yung PayPal mismo na domain, which is paypal.com. So, there are different variations of phishing emails, like yung mga, hindi lang yung katulad nito na your account PayPal is limited or ayun, parang minamadali niya yung user. So, meron din about, or meron ding title na your account is about to be suspended, verify your account, or suspicious activity has been detected on your account. So, syempre, tayo as a user, matakot tayo. Mababahala tayo na bakit sinendan ako ng ganito, wala naman akong ginagawa saan. Or nag-aalala tayo kung meron na bang nangyari sa account natin. So, yan, madali tayong madideceive ng mga ganito kung hindi tayo aware. So, next, yung nakita ninyong image kanina or yung nakita ninyong sample, it is a sample of deceptive phishing. So, yung deceptive phishing, it is one of the common type of phishing scam so far. So, on the previous example, yung pinakita ko sa inyo kanina, The fraudsters impersonates PayPal as an attempt to steal people's personal data or login credentials. So those emails are frequently use threats and a sense of urgency. Yun nga, yung minamadali niya yung user to scare the users into what are the cyber attacks yung gustong makuha ng mga cyber attackers, like yun nga yung mga important or sensitive information from the users. So next slide. Another example is yung DHL na phishing email. So ayun nga, makikita ninyo dyan sa email na nino-notify kayo ni DHL na meron kayong parcel. So, yun, meron siyang ipapaklik na link sa inyo. Pero, hindi naman talaga siya galing kay DHL. Next. Ito. Ano naman to? From Amazon naman to. Pero, mapapansin ninyo, dun sa mismong email, or yung sa email sender, Amazon update, pero iba na naman yung domain. Katulad kanina sa previous, or dun sa pinaka-nauna kong example. So, hindi talaga siya from Amazon.com. Doon pa lang, mapapansin nyo na scam yun or phishing yun. So, ayun, dito, pinipersonalize nung attacker sa email na to, yung, para ma-feel ni user na personalize yung email na para sa kanya talaga yun. So, kung bababasa nyo sa email body, hello shopper, tapos nakalagay din yung email ni user. So, yun. And, ayun, pinapaklik sa kanya yung link to get his or her reward. So, once na maklik nyo yan, possible na pwede nila kayong i-redirect sa another website or sa phishing website na i-require kayo to enter your credentials, o kaya possible din na mag-download siya ng malicious software sa mga endpoints or sa mga machines ninyo. Next slide. So, yung mga gantong types of phishing, it is called spear phishing. So, yung sa scenario na nakita natin before, yung attackers, they customize their email or their emails with the target's email address and other information in an attempt to trick the recipient into believing that they have a connection with the sender. So, ayun, yung goal is ma-deceive yung, same lang din siya ng goal ng deceptive phishing, which is to trick other victim para mag-click ng malicious URL or ng malicious link. Or, aside from that, pwede din na i-deceive nila yung user na mag-click or na mag-download ng mga email attachment para ma-handover sa mga cyber attackers yung personal data ng mga victims. So to protect yourselves from this kind of scam, yung organizations natin dapat mag-conduct sila ng mga employee security awareness, na magdi-discourage sa mga tao or sa mga users na mag-publish or magbigay ng mga sensitive information online. So, dapat tayo rin, as an individual, maging aware din tayo on these kinds of scams. Kasi hindi lang naman siya nangyayari inside the organization. Possible din na masend din siya sa atin or masend din siya on our personal accounts. So, next slide. So, ayan. Itong example na to, nagpapanggap siya na siya yung boss. So, halimbawa, itong si Thomas Edison, siya yung boss ko. So, kunyari, ako yung sinendan niya ng email na to. Wala akong na-highlight dito na any malicious link or attachment. Pero, sinasabi niya lang na due na tomorrow or yung next payment is due tomorrow. So, kailangan i-wire ko yung fund sa account name, sa account number, dun sa bank name and bank address na pre-provide niya. So, kung ako si employee at si Thomas Edison, yung boss ko, syempre magugulat ako na, bakit niya ako sinendan ng ganito? Or kailangan, due na pala tong payment na to. So, ayun. Kung hindi ako aware na hindi siya kung hindi ako aware na hindi siya talaga yung boss ko, so mararatel ako. Ibibigay ko agad yung account or yung hinihingi niya. Pero since yun nga, so since Gmail yung gamit niya, halimbawa lang in an organizational setting, kung Gmail yung gamit niya, tapos meron naman kaming work email, bakit hindi work email yung gamit niya, di ba? So, ayun, isa din yan sa mga way para malaman ninyo na scam lang yung na-receive ninyong email. So, next slide. Ayun, ito is yung meron naman attachment. So, regarding quotation, ayun. So, magtataka ka bakit ka sinendan ng quotation if in the first place, hindi ka naman nanghingi ng quotation, bigla-bigla lang or random na lang na nag-send sa'yo ng email na ganito. So, huwag kayong basta-basta click ng any attachment on these kinds of email na marireceive ninyo. So, next slide. So, whaling. So, attackers can target anyone in an organization, even executives. So, sino ba yung mga executives? Sila yung mga high level or high ranking na may position sa isang organization. So, yung logic behind whaling attack, ini-scam ng mga attackers or tinatry na i-gather ng mga attackers yung login credentials, details, and money from those executives. So to avoid, kailangan lang natin na maging informed about the IT security policy ng organization natin. And since security awareness is the key to avoid these kinds of scams. And also, wag nyo rin kakalimutan na gumamit ng multi-factor authentication para ma-avoid yung mga gantong klase ng scam. And aside from that, do not click on the embedded link and attachment on the suspicious email. Next slide. So, may papanood ako sa inyong video. Ito ay isang sample ng phishing. So, makikita ninyo kung paano or kung gaano kadali na makuha nung threat actor yung kailangan niyang kunin na sensitive information via phone or using phone. So, please play the video, G.
Hello, Joy. While
Yes,
waiting
hello.
for the video to be flashed on screen, so konting Q&A naman dyan bilang, ayan na pala, okay na.
Invited Kris to with his team. Social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code.
We help people with human security issues by testing vulnerabilities for like a network test. Let's look at the vulnerabilities, see where the whole
Can we
So ayun,
try
I
some of this? Can we
guess we are having technical
try
difficulties
some?
to
Yeah, see if it
play
works.
the video.
good
Okay. So ayun, to summarize yung nangyayari dito sa or yung nangyari dito sa video na
have our
to.
star here. Makes a phone call. Says,
Let's do it.
Hello, naririnig niyo
Sorry,
na ba ako, guys?
Yes, Joy, we can hear you.
Use the phone information or data points that
Who are you gonna call?
Okay. So ayun, since we're having technical difficulties na mapakita sa inyo yung video na plinay kanina. So pinost ko doon sa live stream yung link ng video. So ayun, to summarize yung nangyari or yung nangyari dun sa video. As I've said earlier, it is an example of phishing. So ano ba yung phishing? It is a voice phishing. So it is a form of scam perpetrated through phone calls. So we use this, or cyber attackers use these tactics to the victims in order to obtain data and information that can be exploited earlier for a larger or more targeted attack. So dun sa video na yon, yung social or yung attacker, she was challenged to obtain access to a phone account. So, yung attacker, she just succeeded in 30 seconds in obtaining um the information that she needs. So, ayun, inispoof niya lang yung call niya na kunyari galing yung call na yon dun sa mismong owner ng account, and she played the stereotype of a busy mom overloaded with things to do and a crying baby on the background. So, on this role, she claimed that she couldn't remember the email address na ginamit niya para mag-log on sa account. So, ayun nga, hindi natin kung mapapanood niyo yung video, hindi natin alam kung sino yung nasa other end ng line. Pero, ayun, yung kausap niya, she was moved by the situation and she fell into the trap. So, by giving her name, nung cyber attacker, by giving her name and fake social security number, she managed to set up a personal access on the account of the guy, yung kaharap niya. So, ayun, the receiver did everything she could help yung or para matulungan niya yung babae. So, as a result, ayun, yung nakuha nung social engineer is yung email address ng account owner and yung full control dun sa account, and na-kick out niya rin mismo yung lalaki or yung account owner. 'Di ba? So, in 30 seconds, nakuha na lahat ng access dun sa account and na-kick out pa mismo yung mismong may-ari ng account, 'di ba? So, ayun, yun yung tinatawag na phishing. So, ayun, katulad ng nasabi ko kanina, it targets the victims using phone. So, para ma-avoid niyo yung mga gantong kinds of scams, do not give personal information over the phone and avoid calls from unknown numbers. Pwede rin na i-verify ninyo yung calls na yun na galing from unknown numbers. Next slide. So, familiar kayo with regards on this, yung image na to, no? Yung, ayun nga, dahil uso yung GCash ngayon, ayun, since uso yung GCash ngayon, maraming nangi-scam. So, makikita nyo dun sa link, hindi naman siya from Globe or GCash talaga. And, ayun, yung nasa bandang right side na image naman, ini-scam niya yung mga tao using text na nanalo si recipient ng 580,000 from Wawawin, from Kuya Will. Siyempre, maraming mga tao na, kung hindi ka talaga awareness scam yan, maraming mga tao na maniniwala, di ba? Ayun. Yung tawag sa kind of attacks na yun is SMS phishing or smishing. So, this kind of phishing leverages malicious text message to trick users into clicking malicious link or handing over personal information by sending text message to a target or dun sa victim nila. So, para ma-avoid natin yung mga gantong types of scams, i-research nyo muna yung unknown phone number na yun. Or kung galing naman siya sa GCash, dapat sa gantong number siya manggagaling. Or kung galing naman siya from other, or from Metro Bank or to other, yung from BPI, dapat hindi siya galing sa mga personal numbers. So, next. So, ayan. Kung mapapansin nyo, kung mariredirect kayo sa isang malicious website, merong feature si Google na Google Safe Browsing. So, ano ba si Google Safe Browsing? It is a blacklist service provided by Google that provides list of URLs for web resources na madidetect niya na kung nagko-contain ba yun ng malware or phishing. So, yung browser such as Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and such, it uses the list from the Google Safe Browsing service for checking pages against personal threats. So ayun, it is also a service that Google security team built to identify unsafe websites across the web and notify users and webmasters of potential harm. So ayun, so katulad nga sinabi ko kanina, whenever you click a link, tapos malicious yun, nade-detect yun ni Google. So, i-notify kayo ni Google na, oy, itong link na gusto mong pasukin malicious. So, yun. Google Safe Browsing helps you identify whether the website brings potential threat or harm. So, next slide. Ayun. Kung makikita ninyo dyan sa image na yan, kamukhang-kamukha niya yung landing page ng Office 365, right? So, akala natin talagang nire-require niya tayo na mag-enter tayo ng Microsoft account natin. So, yung mga kinds of phishing scams na to, nauuso to in an organizational setting. So, marami na akong na-experience na mga gantong kinds of phishing scams. So, ayun, i-redirect lang si user sa isang Microsoft Office 365 na landing page and i-require niya si user na mag-enter ng credentials. After na mag-sign in or after niya mag-enter ng mga credentials niya, i-redirect siya sa totoo talagang website ni Office 365. Pero kung mapapansin ninyo, dito sa image na to, tumingin lang kayo sa may upper left part, hindi talaga siya from Office 365 kasi galing siya sa gopneg.org na domain. So, dun pa lang, malalaman mo na scam siya. So, next slide. Ayan. Itong example na to, it shows an impersonating an authoritative government organization such as World Health Organization to solicit fraudulent donations. So kung mapapansin ninyo, ayun, nagbigay si attacker ng Bitcoin address niya for a donation. Pero na-detect kasi ni Google or may feature si Google na ma-detect niya na dangerous yung message or yung email na na-receive ni user. So next slide. Etong example naman na to, it shows increased phishing attempts of employees operating in a work from home setting. So, next slide. Yung mga pinakita kong previous na email samples, nakita ninyo, di ba meron siyang alert message. So, these features is what you call advanced phishing and malware protection by Google. So, these features are turned on by default sa G Suite natin or sa Google account natin to ensure users will have these proactive protections in place. So, ayun nga, katulad nung sinabi ko dun sa previous slide ko regarding Google Safe Browsing. Yun nga, once na ma-identify ni Google yung threat, it is being added to the Safe Browsing API. So, pinaprotect nito yung mga users in Chrome, Gmail, and other integrated services and products. So, next slide. Ayun. Eto, na-receive ko tong email na to recently. Pero, nalaman ko na scam siya. Bakit? Dahil una, kung makikita ninyo, dun sa email body, or yung sender is from noreply@promos-netflix.com. Yun pa lang, sketchy na, yun pa lang yung one point na sketchy yung email na to. And next, ayun nga, previous slide po, please. So, ayun, sorry. Mapapansin nyo rin on the right part na pag hinover ninyo yung link, makikita ninyo na hindi naman talaga siya from netflix.com. Ito, from chase.com-onlinebanking.com. So, once na maklik mo yan, sa ibang website ka ma-redirect, hindi talaga sa Netflix. So possible na ma-redirect ka sa isang phishing website which requires you to enter your credentials, o kaya possible na mag-download ng malicious software sa iyong endpoint or sa iyong machine. Next slide. So ayan, nung binuksan ko kasi tinry kong buksan yung link na yon, pero hindi ko kayo ini-encourage na buksan ninyo. Syempre, on my perspective as a cybersecurity professional, may way ako para ma-check ma-check yung link na yon, kung ano ba yung behavior niya or kung ano yung ginagawa niya. So, ayun, nung chinek ko, wala na siya, naka-down na siya. Next slide. Tapos, chinek ko rin sa Virus Total na itong website na to, yung chase.com-onlinebanking.com, yung website na yan is na-tag as malicious and it is a phishing website as per ESET and CRDF. So, yung mga yan, yung makikita ninyo sa page na yan, yan yung mga antivirus engines. Next slide. So, ayan. Yan yung mga recent news ngayon na yung isang IT student ng hack ng mga bank account ng mga users galing or gamit lang yung mga spam message. So, marami talaga sa panahon ngayon yung nafo-fall sa trap na katulad nito. Next. So, phishing scams exploiting fear of this pandemic are on the rise. So, ayun nga, natitake advantage ng mga cyber criminals yung situation natin ngayon para makapangloko ng ibang tao or para makuha nila yung mga gusto nila, like yung personal information, para makagain ng money or other motives pa. So, ayun. Many of this information contains information regarding COVID-19 virus, since yun nga yung recent na situation natin ngayon. So, next. Ayun, I'll be discussing about malware naman aside from phishing. So, what is malware? So, next slide. So, ayun, malware stands for malicious software. So, it is a software used to disrupt computer operation, and it also performs malicious activities without the owner's consent. So, ibig sabihin, hindi talaga alam yun ni user yung mga malicious activities na nangyayari once na mag-run yung isang malware. So, ano ba yung mga malicious activities na to? Yung propagation ng malware, destruction, unexpected behavior, remote control or yung tinatawag na backdoor, information theft, exploitation, and deception. So, next slide. Ayun. Paano ba nagpo-propagate yung malware? So, by email attachment, downloaded from the internet, removable drives, network, dropped by other malware, and file infection. Next slide. So, ayan, yung major types of malware, i-discuss ko, which is yung virus, worm, and Trojan. So, yung virus, next slide, it is a malware that infects files to propagate. And yung file infection, it means insertion of malicious code into another executable host program. And ayun nga, yung virus code, it runs upon the execution of the infected host. So, yung virus, it may damage data, hardware, or software. So, ayan. Dito naman sa, sa part na to, next slide, makikita ninyo yung pinagkaiba ng normal na file sa isang infected file. So, dito makikita ninyo yung um, yung normal na file properties ng isang normal na file na hindi infected. And then yung next slide, makita nyo nag-iba na yung icon ng mga files. So yan, nagkakaroon ng changes sa file properties like yung file size, icons, and yung date modified. Next slide. So ayun, itong I Love You virus, ito yung pinaka well-known and worst computer viruses of all times. So, ito, nag-spread siya through email, ha? Nag-spread siya through email with a subject line that is saying I love you way back in 2000. So, ayun, it attacked 10 millions of Windows PC and maraming organization yung naapektuhan nito. Next slide. So, ayun. Yung next is yung worm. So, it replicates by creating copies of itself in the system and the network. So, ayun, nagre-replicate siya. Yung type of malware na to is nagre-replicate sa machine. And it may consume local or network system resources or possibly pwede siyang mag-cause ng denial of service attack using that single endpoint. And it may also execute automatically or pwedeng matrigger ni user. Next slide. So, ayun, ang mga propagation channels naman ni worm is sa email, network and removable drives, instant messaging, social networking, peer-to-peer networks, and exploits. Next slide. So, ayan yung isang example naman yan ng worm. So, yung mga nauuso before sa Messenger na nagsisend sa atin ng link. So, once na maklik natin yung link na yun, matitrigger yung, once na maklik natin yung link na yun, mag-create yun ng links din na masend yun sa other email contacts or sa other contacts without user's consent. So, next slide. Yung next slide naman is Trojan. So, yung Trojan horses, it cannot propagate, pero it is able to reach machine of the victim through end user's assistance. So, ibig sabihin, kailangan matrigger muna ni user. And it possesses a legitimate application to hide its malicious routines and trick the unsuspecting user. Next slide. So, ayan, yung types of Trojan, keyloggers, file droppers, backdoors, and destructive Trojans. So, ito yung mga akala natin na legit na software, pero hindi pala. Nagkakos siya, ayun nga, pwedeng mag-drop siya ng keylogger sa endpoint ni user, file dropper, backdoors, and etc. So, ayun. Yung next slide. What are the types of attacks seen during these critical times or during this pandemic? So, yung types of attack na nakita or yung mga napapansin natin ngayon these days are the email phishing attacks impersonating an authoritative government organizations such as World Health Organization to solicit fraudulent donations. So, ayun. Yung kaninang pinakita ko sa inyo kanina. Next slide. Sorry. Ayan. Yung kaninang pinakita ko sa inyo. Yan. Isa yan sa type of attacks na nakita natin or yung kumakalat during these critical times. And next slide. Okay. So, yung next is phishing or email phishing attacks with malicious file attached. So, ito, regarding naman to sa coronavirus safety measures, kung mapapansin nyo dun sa email. So, once na maklik ninyo yung attachment na yan, isa siyang malicious file na naka-attach dun sa email na nagki-claim ng latest information about the coronavirus. Pero nagko-contain talaga siya ng malware. Next slide. So ayun, yan yung live coronavirus map application from Johns Hopkins. Pero itong pinapakita kong example sa inyo is fake. Kasi, ayun nga, this live map of coronavirus contains password stealing malware. So, ayun, para maiwasan nyo yan, pumunta lang kayo doon sa pinaka-legitimate site ng live coronavirus map from John Hopkins. And next, and ito yung pinaka-legit site ng John Hopkins coronavirus live map. Next slide. So, malapit na tayo matapos, guys. So, ito, how to be resilient on this kind of threats. So, paano ba natin mapoprotect yung sarili natin sa mga gantong kinds of threats during this pandemic? So, you may find information about COVID-19 at the official websites of the World Health Organization, which is nandyan na sa screen ninyo yung website. And yun nga, makikita nyo rin yung information sa Department of Health website. And yung sa coronavirus map din, reliable din yun. Basta, make sure lang na dun kayo sa legitimate website mismo pupunta. And then, next slide please. Ensure that you have antivirus protection on all your devices. And dapat yung antivirus na gamit ninyo or yung mga software ninyo sa mga machines ninyo or devices ninyo is laging updated. Bakit important na mag-update tayo ng mga devices natin? Dahil yung update, it helps patch security flaws and it helps protect our data. So, these updates can also add new features to our devices and remove the outdated ones. So, ayan. Next slide, please. So, ayan, we must avoid using public Wi-Fi and kung meron naman tayong Wi-Fi at home, make sure na ma-secure ninyo ito. So, bakit ba kailangan natin na i-avoid yung paggamit ng public Wi-Fi? It's because yung data na nasa-send natin through the public Wi-Fi, it can be monitored and collected. So, paano pala kung meron kayong mga sensitive data na hawak, di ba? Like yung iba sa atin, customer facing. So, dun pa lang, isa na siyang security flaw kasi pwedeng ma-collect ni nung administrator ng public Wi-Fi, pwede niya ma-collect yung mga data na yon or yung mga sensitive information na yon. Okay? So, next slide. Ayun. And so, when we are working from home, kung merong VPN na nakaset up sa organization natin, we must use VPN. So, ano ba yung VPN? So, it is a virtual private network. So, it also helps us to protect the data that we are sending and receiving while we are working from home. So, VPN is a secure link between the users or the employees and the businesses by encrypting its data. So, ayun, pero kung wala naman tayong or kung wala namang VPN na nakaset up sa organization natin, ang magagawa na lang natin to protect ourselves and yung kung saan man tayo nagtatrabaho is yung pag-secure ng home Wi-Fi natin with a strong Wi-Fi, with a strong password. So, yan. Next slide, please. So, ayan. We must separate work and personal device. So, ayan, we need to have boundaries from our work life and home life while working from home. Same thing when it comes to our devices as well. So, ayun, kung work device yan, dapat work lang yung ginagawa mo dyan. Hindi ka na dapat nagda-download ng mga torrent or other movies kasi possible na mag-lead lang yon into downloading malicious files over the internet. So, yun. Next slide, please. Ayun. Be suspicious of requests for personal information that occurs via email, phone, text message, or social media message. So, mag-ingat kayo sa pag-provide ng mga personal information. Kung maaari, wag na wag ninyong ibibigay yung mga information hanggat hindi ninyo na-verify yung kung sino yung nanghingi. And then, next slide, please. Ayun. As I've mentioned from my previous slides, do not download or open email attachment from unknown senders, as this can contain viruses or other malwares. And next, please. Ayun. Do not click on links in social media messages, especially yung from Messenger na ayun nga, katulad nitong sample na nakikita ninyo sa screen. So, possible na isa siyang worm. So, possible na pag clinic nyo yan, may gawin siya na hindi kayo aware doon sa mismong account ninyo. So, possible na ma-compromise yung account ninyo without you knowing. So, next slide. Ayan. Do not click on ads or social media posts regarding COVID-19. As pwede kasing fake and nagko-contain siya ng malicious content. So, dapat think before you click talaga dapat. And then, next slide, please. Okay. So, these are the things to remember. First, learn good computing security practices as we have discussed on this session. And incorporate these practices into your everyday routine and encourage to do so as well. And ayun, report anything unusual. Kung meron kayong cybersecurity department or information security department sa organization ninyo, i-report ninyo yon sa kanila kung maaari. And ayun nga, kung may mga suspicious na security incident kayong nare-receive on your email or on your work email, ayun. Next slide. So ayun, we shouldn't be the weakest link when it comes to cybersecurity. So we can be the greatest resource when we are aware, knowledgeable, and motivated. So yun lang, since yun nga, tayo yung pinaka-weakest link, dapat hindi natin patunayan yon. Dapat maging knowledgeable tayo para maiwasan natin yung mga gantong cyber threats. And then, next slide. Ayan, dito na pala nagtatapos yung ating session for today regarding cybersecurity. So, I hope that you have learned something from me on this session. And I hope that you can share it to others din na hindi pa aware. Especially yung mga nakatatanda, kailangan din natin sila i-guide. And pati na rin yung mga bata, yung mga kids. Kasi, syempre, sila din, gumagamit din sila ng, or online din sila, and gumagamit din sila ng devices such as handheld devices and smartphones. So, kailangan din nila maging aware. So, tulungan natin sila to be cyber safe. And yun, thank you GDG Philippines and Women Techmakers Manila for this opportunity na mag-share ako ng something about cybersecurity since kailangan talaga natin to in these critical times. And also, I would like to shout out to my friends in the cybersecurity field, sila Jielynn, Harvey, Gian, Nate. Thank you for helping me. And ayun, sa mga nanood ng session na to, thank you so much. And yung kanina yung sa Google Classroom, i-access nyo yun. Feel free to join and feel free to download the content. And ayun nga, kung meron kayong questions, post nyo lang doon and I will answer those questions sa Google Classroom. And ayun, thank you so much. You
Thank
can
you so
subscribe to
much,
my YouTube
Joy.
channel. You
Hindi
can
talaga
subscribe to
mawawala
my
yung
YouTube channel.
so funny
Subscribe
no.
lang.
Super
Yes.
funny po yung vlogs niya. So, please
Yeah.
subscribe.
Oo. Pero kung gusto niyo din na gumawa ako ng vlog regarding cybersecurity, ayun, baka pag-isipan ko yun one time. So, ayun. Thank you so
Thank you
much,
so much,
guys.
Joy. And very timely talaga. So, hashtag
Yes.
think before you click. So, thank you so much. And we're very proud of our GDG core team member, Joy. So, for our next... Very proud. Bye. So, for our next speaker, we have from one of our sponsor. But before I present him, let us all watch the AVP from their company.
Cloudstaff is the #1 workplace in the Philippines with more than 2,000 employees complementing the business operations all over the world.
More and more people have established and excelled in their chosen careers given the variety and diversity of opportunities brought about by companies who decided to partner with Cloudstaff.
The numbers keep on growing. Every day, businesses all over the world choose to take advantage of the wonderful results of having Cloudstaff as their business expansion partner.
Cloudstaff encourages us to have fun, exciting perks, amazing special interest groups, and career advancement sessions are just few of the benefits we enjoy.
Have you ever wondered how we remain cheerfully competitive amidst the challenges of worldwide business?
At Cloudstaff, we find that great staff attract great customers that attract great staff, and staff that love what they do and are passionate. Let us show you how.
Wake up in the morning, feel the sunshine coming, it's another day.
We play a big role in all aspects of business, from customer care, sales, content creation, creatives, and web development. But we are not a traditional BPO. In fact, we have architects and engineers. Yes, you heard that right.
We offer our expertise in the design and development requirements of our clients. Our clients enjoy return on their investment with better and creative solutions that we provide.
We make sure that it's always a worry-free transaction for our client by keeping our building projects structurally safe and sound.
Their tasks may seem complicated, but they surely know how to stay on top of their game.
It's not all work here.
And if you think that's not enough, we got balls. We can putt, drive, smash, break, spike, and shoot.
Unique, fun, and exciting. And we're just getting started.
Fun and exciting. That's who we are. No wonder Cloudstaff is the #1 choice when it comes to establishing dream careers. With the highest retention rate in the industry, people don't just choose us, they choose to stay with us.
Balanced and accurate, that's a trademark of our job. This is our way of protecting our clients' financial transactions. Also, our bosses make sure that we remain globally competitive through ongoing education.
That's food for the mind. Now, time to eat, and it's free.
Better than yesterday. It's a chance for us to
Resourceful and organized. These are the traits that our clients enjoy as we diligently manage the day-to-day operations of their business.
I love playing here, Mommy.
So yes, I can also take care of her here in the office.
Grateful for this day. It's a chance for us to show our way. Yeah.
Indeed, family means putting your arms around each other and being there. We organize outreach programs as part of our corporate social responsibility, as well as environmental campaigns that are sustainable, thereby reducing our carbon footprint. Use, reuse, recycle. That is celebrating life together while being responsible citizens.
And together, we get the job done. We take pride in the tools and technology that we and our clients use in our daily grind.
Our clients and their businesses run like clockwork. We ensure that all computer systems and their connections to the World Wide Web are up and running 24/7. Our IT teams continually and consistently support our clients straight from the cloud, right where they need us. And when it's time to play, it pays to be connected.
But wait, there's more. We have apps that we tap to get us on top. Coming in late? Need repairs? Hungry? Feeling under the weather? And many more. We can even buy stuff using the dream points that we earn.
Now that's power at your fingertips. These remarkable achievements are the result of the synergy between the client and the team, powered by our cutting-edge technology. A perfect collaboration.
Our clients are consistently hitting their sales target through the marketing collaterals that we produce. We create innovative and timely campaigns that are at par with global trends and standards. In fact, this video was produced by Shutterbugs, a camera club here at Cloudstaff.
To keep the creative juices flowing, let the beers flow too.
Cloudstaff is the #1 workplace.
Now that's our secret. Simply fantastic. Cloudstaff is where customers work with passionate people because excellence is our way of life.
At Cloudstaff, we work hard.
We play harder. It's a global workforce.
This event is made possible in cooperation with one of our sponsor, Cloudstaff. So our next speaker, you have seen him in the video, but let me share more details about him with you. Presently, he's focused on cloudstaff.com. Cloudstaff provides world-class outsourcing solutions for real estate accounting, development, commerce, health, and many other industries. Today, Cloudstaff employs over 2,000 staff and contractors across 6 different locations and is growing at an average rate of 7.5 per month. Let us all welcome the CEO of Cloudstaff, Mr. Lloyd Ernst. Welcome, sir. On mute, sorry. You're on mute po.
How does that sound? Can you hear me okay?
Hey, sir, and welcome.
That sounds better. Okay, great. Happy Saturday afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. I just thought I'd start off with it. It's great to be supporting the Google developers and women tech makers again. You know, we've got we're always happy to help share some of our experience and also take you guys through some of the stuff that we're working on there. Now, let me just make sure. I think I've shared the wrong screen here because we've got a bit of stuff showing there at the moment. Just hold one moment. And I'll just share the right part of the screen here. And I'll get the right window here. And if we share that screen, we should be okay. There we go. Fantastic. Hey, guys, look, I'll make sure Zar posts this in the chat group. But, you know, one of the things about Cloudstaff is we do like to be a very desirable location for developers and tech people to come and work at. So have a look at jobs.cloudstaff.com. We've got offices in Makati and Ortigas, and we even have a work from home option now, which I think is going to be important moving forward. Now, one of the great things about sponsoring this event is I get to choose what I get to talk about, and I've got about 10 minutes, I think, to sort of share some thoughts. And what I'd like to share with everyone today is a little bit about where do you think the world is going in the next 5 years? Because one of the goals, I guess, of developers and technology people is we need to be anticipating what are going to be the changes in the environment and what are going to be the changes in the business world, so that we can ensure that we're guiding our customers correctly with the choices they're going to make. So what I thought I'd do is share with you just quickly, in no particular order, about 12 or 13 different things that I think are going to be important moving forward. And if you've got any questions, you can pop them in the chats down below. So over the next 5 years, something interesting is going to happen to businesses. And I think you're going to find businesses become smaller. If you've got 500 people today, in the future, the business might only hire 100 people directly, but they'll have 600 people who are contractors, gig economy, outsourced staff that are kind of working for them. And the reason we're going to see that shift is because it's expensive to manage people, and businesses will focus on those core people that are part of that core group, and then they will use outsourcing and offshoring and all the other services that are available to help build out their organizations. Next thing, in 5 years' time, in 2025, the 5G will be ending. And by the way, guys, 5G does not cause COVID-19. But what it does mean is that the technology that we will be starting to see today with regards to better and improved rollout of internet connectivity from the mobile phone, it's only going to get faster and faster and faster. And you'll be seeing in the Philippines, better coverage as we start to see that roll out. But literally in 5 years' time, 6G, which is already under development, will be starting to be deployed. And as developers, how is that going to impact the development strategy that you make? I think one of the interesting things about COVID-19 has been, we'll be burning less fossil fuels. I know for one thing, Cloudstaff is already looking at, do we replace our FB van with electric jeepneys or different solutions like that? It's been really interesting to see some of the news reports about, what's happened when everyone stops driving cars. Do I need an office? More businesses will probably give up high rent offices and work from home. And again, this has been driven partly because of COVID-19 and the different measures that we've had to put in place there. Sharing. People will share offices, share a car, share an employee, or even share developers. Again, this whole gig economy, the concept of being able to share resources will be important, because it's not only makes good economic sense, but it also means lower carbon footprints and those sorts of things. Again, the cloud will have more and more cloud applications. More and more businesses will build their own applications, which is great news for developers, because increasingly businesses will have to figure out how they interact with their customers. We will see more and more IoT, Internet of Everything. And what you're going to see is this giving more visibilities to customers. So an example, I was talking to someone this week, and they were talking about tractor manufacturers and being able to have all real-time statistics coming directly out of these vehicles, which they have at the moment. But what they're not doing is they're not feeding that information back to the customer. So you can imagine that if you were a construction company owner, then the people that provided the big yellow tractor phone you up and say, hey, we notice that your drivers are not driving very well, and maybe you should do something about it because we're going to invalidate your warranty. So that's the sort of things that we will see, more and more data, but the insights to how we use that data. Again, as a developer, show me your API. We're probably moving into a period where if you want to get money from the bank, you may not just have to show them your statements, but you may have to open up your system, whether it's your online accounting systems or through an API. but increasingly more and more of the people who provide funding will be looking for information, and they'll be looking for it in real time. Again, this is great news if you're developers. Automation, it goes without saying, automation everywhere. More systems, talking to more businesses, talking to more systems. The mobile phone will probably become the PC. We're getting to a stage now where most of the mobile phones are getting more powerful than an i3 processor, and it's a nice convenient form factor. You'll just walk around, you can dock it with your monitor, and away you go. So the mobile phone will become the PC. Also, gaming. We've already seen things such as the GPU in the cloud. So the best games, the most realistic simulations are not going to be run from the local PC. They're going to be coming from the cloud. So as long as you have a good internet connection, i.e. 4G, 5G, or 6G, this is where the future is moving with how we render and present information to the users. And not only, but we've also seen, in the natural speech recognition, it will only get better and better and better. And also, the robotic automatic voices that we hear at the moment, these again will improve. And again, it's simply been driven by the power that exists in the cloud and great internet connections. The SIM card that you have today, SIM cards are dead. They're going to be replaced by the eSIMs fairly shortly. But then more importantly, is the phone number dead? In 5 years' time, are you going to have a mobile phone number, or are you going to have a WhatsApp email address or something like that? And what's going to replace it? But the phone number is probably going to go the way of the fax number, which went the same way as the telex machine, which no one on this call will even remotely be aware of. Businesses will need to be open 24/7. Customers are simply going to expect it, and that will also drive how we build our systems. There'll also be, of course, through automation, more and more exposing the systems of the business directly through to the customers. Let me change tack a little bit as well. Consumers are going to be more and more demanding. Not only will the consumer want to be able to interact 24 hours a day, but consumers are going to want supply chain visibility. The consumers are going to want to know is, if I'm spending money with this company, how are they treating their suppliers, and how are their suppliers treating their employees? And so you're going to see this flow all the way through the supply chain with regards to visibility. When it comes to e-commerce, faster, more choices, faster, more choices, faster, more choices. And when I mean faster, delivery within 1 or 2 hours, and the items that you'll be able to get delivered will increase as we get more and more distribution centers closer and closer to where the population is. But physical retail, everything will be replaced by e-commerce. And I said, in 5 years' time, if you're not sitting here in the Philippines and able to order a chair or an office computer and have it delivered in 60 minutes, something's actually going to be wrong. You'll also see not only being able to buy online, but you'll see this concept called subscription consumption. So consumers have so much choice, they're willing to pay for an experience. So I don't know what shower gel you have in your bathroom today, but you will probably, or you might decide to employ a subscription service where for $9.95 a month delivered to your door, every month will be a selection of shower gels to surprise and delight you. And that's called a subscription service. And again, it will change the way in which we do e-commerce. Data security is already mentioned. The more we embrace the cloud, the more we need data security. And also the environment is going to play a more important role. Businesses will have to make sure they're more environmentally friendly. In fact, one of the things that may emerge is that all businesses will be required to display our carbon footprint on our website and be able to make that available and have it audited. So whether it's an Energy Star or carbon footprint rating, and again, this will be driven by consumers wanting to make sure that the people, that the businesses they're dealing with are dealing with in an environment-friendly way. and also ethically, moral responsibility, doing the right things. We will see increasingly businesses adopting more social responsibility, making sure that tax is being paid, but also making sure that we're supporting the community and those sorts of things. So, guys, that's all I wanted to do, was to give you a quick thought about, start thinking about what the next 5 years holds, because this is what will drive the business decisions, and this is what will drive the career decisions that you make in the years to come. And as I said, it's always a great idea if you have to be able to show to your customer or the your managers that you're thinking outside the square and thinking what's going to happen in the future. So I said, jobs.cloudstaff.com. We're always looking for great staff, and we're always happy to be supporting Google and women tech makers. Thanks, guys, and have a safe Saturday afternoon.
Thank you so much, Sir Lloyd. And I know you've been helping more Filipinos right now with giving jobs to everyone. So thank you so much. And of course, to our attendees, please stay until the rest of the event. Cloudstaff is giving us a Redmi Note 8 and some minor prizes that will be raffled later. Thanks, Sir Lloyd.
Okay, thanks. Bye, everyone.
Have a great day. Stay safe. So, without further ado, let me introduce to you our next speaker. She is a Women Tech Maker Ambassador for Google Cloud Manila, and she'll be sharing with us a talk about to cloud or not to cloud. That is the question to be answered by our next speaker. We will know the specific things to consider when migrating to the cloud from, again, the Women Tech Makers Ambassador of GDG Cloud Manila. Let's all welcome Calma. Hi, Jazz.
Hi. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
I'll start. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm Jazmine Calma, the co-organizer and Women Tech Maker Ambassador of GDG Cloud Manila. Just a brief background about myself. I'm a graduate of BS Computer Engineering from Asia Pacific College. My cloud journey started last year after joining an event at GDG Cloud Manila. Then, just last January, I became one of the co-organizers and the Women Tech Maker Ambassador. Okay, today we'll discuss about what is cloud computing, why go to the cloud, the cloud deployment models, cloud migration in the Philippines, and why should you choose Google Cloud, and about GDG Cloud Manila. So if you have any questions, feel free to post it in the live chat. Someone from GDG Cloud Manila will gladly answer it. Now let's get started. Okay. What is cloud computing? In simplest terms, cloud computing means delivering services such as storage, servers, and software over the internet. The primary goal of cloud computing is to provide easy, scalable access to computing resources and IT services. Think of it as renting an office space in a flexible contract. You pay per square meter of what you use. If you need more space, you can get more rooms and you'll pay for the extra. Conversely, if you need less space, the owner is kind enough to let you reduce rent. This is cheaper than if you bought your own land and had to build your own office in Makati, which has really expensive land rate. Another analogy for cloud is getting a pizza. Pizza as a service is a concept that was originally published by Albert Barron at IBM. And he stated that choosing what kind of cloud service to avail is similar to how to get a pizza. Um, first choice that you have is you can shop for separate ingredients, make the pizza, put it in the oven, set the table, and clean up. Next is you can buy a pre-made pizza in the supermarket, but you still have to cook it at home, set the table, and clean up. The third choice is you have your pizza delivered, but you still need to figure out the drinks and dishes. Lastly, you go to a pizza parlor and eat there. Shopping for the ingredients is like setting up and maintaining your own computing infrastructure. With buying a pre-made pizza, it's similar to infrastructure as a service. You get a cloud service provider for providing and maintaining your computing infrastructure, and you're in charge of the operating system, data, and applications. With having your pizza delivered, it's similar to a platform as a service. The cloud service provider sets everything up for deployment, but you still need to manage the application and the data. Lastly, going to the pizza parlor is similar to software as a service, wherein you just use the application and the cloud service provider is the one maintaining the infrastructure and the application related stuff. Okay, next are the types of cloud deployment models. First, we have the public cloud. With public cloud, IT services are available to any subscriber. It's hosted on the provider equipment, and the data resides in a data center. With public cloud, you have a reduced local space, reduced local energy consumption, and less local IT expertise. Example of public cloud services is Google Docs, Google Drive, and Gmail. Next is private cloud. With private cloud, IT services are hosted on equipment owned by a private organization. Um, it is only available to users within the organization, and the organization is responsible for the hardware, software licenses, installation, configuration, patching, troubleshooting, and maintenance. With this, the organization has full control over data, the regulatory compliance, and fault tolerance. Third is hybrid cloud. It can be an it can be a combination of an on-premise IT services or a cloud provider, or it could be a private cloud and it could be a combination of a private cloud wherein you store your confidential information there, and a public cloud wherein the customer facing content is stored there. Lastly is community cloud wherein it pools computing resources to serve organizations with common needs. It has fast access to an application or data. So, what are the benefits of going cloud? First is it's flexible and scalable. You can customize your application, and it's easy to increase power, capacity, and bandwidth depending on the user's needs. Next is it's cost effective. You only pay for what you use, and your capital expenses, which are the funds to procure equipment or infrastructure, can be converted to operating expenses, which are expenses related to running the cloud solution. Next is mobility. It's accessible anywhere as long as there's internet connection. Um, Next is secure. Cloud service providers ensure that security protocols and infrastructure are constantly analyzed and updated to address new threats. Then lastly is organizations can focus on rapid innovation. With cloud, your organization can focus on just deploying applications and improving it. You don't have to worry about scaling your infrastructure in case there are too many requests. Um, Actually, there's a lot of benefits, but these five what are some of the key benefits of going to cloud. Next is cloud migration in the Philippines. Migrating to the cloud is not an easy task, and this slide discusses what might organizations encounter when it comes to cloud migration activities here in our country. First is the Data Privacy Act of 2012. Um, with Data Privacy Act, you have to let your consumer know who has access to the cloud, um, what data is being stored in the cloud, and how long it will be stored in the cloud. Next is how can personal data be stored in the cloud, and what kind of security needs to be implemented. You also have to specify if the cloud service provider can access the data, and if yes, to what extent. Appointing a data privacy officer is also required here. A DPO will ensure that the data collector or processor is compliant with the DPA and other applicable laws and policies. Aside from the DPA of 2012 in the Philippines, you also need to consider the privacy rules and regulations of the geographical location of your stored data. Next is the BSP guidelines on IT risk management for supervised financial institutions. Customer information should be stored in a with this you should specify if um, with this customer information should be stored in a private cloud. Then while non-essential information could be stored by banks in public clouds. Then aside from those, some of the requirements for being able to, as a financial institution, some of the requirements that you need to submit is the list of territories where data will be stored. Then you also have to comply with BSP outsourcing rules and regulations, plus implementing of more robust risk management systems and controls. Then on-site inspection by BSP before implementing the cloud arrangements. Then BSP should have the right to audit a cloud service provider. And lastly, consultation with BSP before making any significant commitment on cloud computing. Next is awareness. Awareness in a sense that some organizations tend to migrate quickly to the cloud without checking the dependencies of their processes, and some tend to avail add-ons that are not needed in their current solutions, which results to unnecessary expenses. Mm. Next is cloud engineers. Organizations still need cloud engineers since they are specialized in managing and securing the cloud, and the skills gap threatens to impact the ability for organizations to continue with cloud adoption. Um, then last is legacy systems. Um, Migrating cloud native aspects can introduce unwanted new dependencies that can manifest themselves to the customers as poor performance and response times. As more and more organizations move to the cloud, why should you consider Google Cloud to be your cloud service provider? Okay, so what sets Google Cloud apart from the rest? First is security. Um, Google regularly undergoes an independent verification of their security, privacy, and compliance controls. And their compliance with the GDPR is a top priority. GDPR is a regulation in the European Union European law on union law on data protection and privacy in the European Union and the European Economic Area. They are also compliant with the industry-specific standards like CSA, ISO, IICPA, PIC, DSS. Next is pricing. Google only offers a pay-as-you-go pricing, and your usage is rounded off to the nearest minute. Aside from that, there are no upfront and termination costs. Next is network. Google invested in faster cable system, which allows Google its cloud and app customers speed up to 10 terabits per second. Google also has a private distributed backbone between their data centers, and they are also the first public cloud to offer a tiered cloud network, which gives users high performing network experiences by using Google's global network. Next is live migration. Google offers live migration of virtual machines and host machines, which allows businesses to be up and running without any performance degradation. This also allows the engineers in Google to repair and update software, including security related programs, without rebooting the machines. Um, Last is redundant backups. Google Cloud Storage is designed for 99.99% durability as it stores data redundantly, with automatic checksums to ensure data integrity. Google Cloud also has four different types of storage: cold line storage, cold line storage, nearline, regional storage, and multi-regional storage. Google's multi-regional storage is also geo-redundant. It means cloud storage stores your data redundantly in at least two regions within the multi-regional location of the bucket. Okay. So now that we've discussed cloud computing, the deployment models, benefits, what um, what orga- what might be what can organizations encounter when it comes to cloud migration, and why should you consider Google Cloud? I would like to give you a background on the organization that introduced me to cloud computing and Google Cloud Platform, GDG Cloud Manila. Okay, GDG Cloud Manila is a local community-run meetup for developers interested in resources and technology from Google developers. We usually have lean coffee meetings, conferences like Cloud Dev Fest and Cloud Study Jams. I began my GDG Cloud Manila journey by being one of the organizers of Google Cloud Next Extended Manila that was held in BGC. Then after that, I began joining Cloud Study Jams to learn more about Google Cloud products. So what is a Cloud Study Jam? So a study jam is a community event and a collective learning program combining practical developer experience with cloud expertise. Um, Like-minded developers come together to hone their skills and further their cloud knowledge through interactive classrooms and hands-on labs. With over 800 Google developer groups around the world, attendees can join a global community of eager to learn professionals. So why should you join a Google Study Jam? With Cloud Study Jam, you will learn the fundamental tools and capabilities of Google Cloud, share the experiences, and solve hands-on problems together. An online cloud study jam is a hands-on way to learn, and you'll be guided by our team of volunteers. We use Quick Labs to access the Google Cloud platform for free. No credit card needed, and this is a $50 value. So later I will post the Quick Lab code for today. You can access it via a link that I will share to you, and that link the subscription code is only valid until today. So here, um, first you need to go.quicklabs.com/cloud study jams 2020. Then enroll in the quest that you want to take. The next is enter the study jam access code. The access code is only good. It's good only for today. But it's valid for 30 days. And if you were able to finish a quick lab quest, you can avail for another month. Okay. Please join the GDG Cloud Manila meetup page, GDG Cloud Manila Facebook group, and please like GDG Cloud Manila Facebook page. I'll also be posting the links that I've used for this presentation. I'll post it in the Google Classroom. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jazz. And of course, to our participants, please feel free to fill out and join GDG Cloud Manila. They're very online on their social media channels. Thank you so much, Jazz.
Thank you.
Okay. And so, that's our last speaker. So, syempre, meron pa kami mga pinangakong raffle and games. So, for this game that we will be having, but before that, of course, let's promote and let's help support the RISE movement. They do have Manila and Cebu beneficiaries. Flashed on screen is their bank details. So, please feel free to ask or ping us if you have any questions. So now, let's proceed to the game. So for this game, we will be giving a Google Home Mini to our women participants. So, women lang muna yung i-cater natin for this game. So, first five na mag-answer ng question natin just like kanina will be on stream for the game. So, okay ba yun? So, the question will be flashed on screen. So, let's wait for it. So, sa mga ladies participant natin dyan, make sure na you're tuned in and that you're ready to answer this next question. Okay, so for our next question, who is the current CEO of Google? We're waiting on the comment section. Again, the preliminary question, who is the current CEO of Google? So we have 5 girls who will be with us this time. I still see 3 answers. Okay, so we have first 5 girls. So please feel free to message us on GDG page so you can get the StreamYard link. Okay, so habang binibigay natin yung StreamYard link to them, please feel free to answer our feedback form para sa raffle natin later. So those who will answer this feedback form, the names will be raffled later. So that's bit.ly/May23WTM feedback. Let us know if you have any questions. All Google Classroom links were already sent earlier. So just comment if you have any question. Okay, so just a trivia of what GDG or Google Developer was known before. So sino kaya nakakaalam nito? Meron bang nakakaalam kung ano ang tawag dati sa Google Developer Group Philippines? If meron, ano lang to, nag-pop up lang the game sa mind ko. So if you have any idea kung ano yung tawag before sa Google Developer Group Philippines, you can comment it out and I'll give you Google Home Mini. Pero meron time second. So I'll just count 10. If may makapag-comment kung anong tawag before sa Google Developer Group. So we have 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so I think on my end, wala ako nakitang sumagot. So let's just make it a trivia. It's Google Technology User Group. Okay, so just a trivia. Dahil walang nakasagot. GDG or Google Developer Group is formerly known as Google Technology User Group. Okay, so again, please answer our feedback form. It's bit.ly/WTM23. Sorry, it's bit.ly/May23WTM feedback. And sa nanalo for the preliminary game, please message us on GDG Facebook page so you can get the StreamYard link para makapasok with us on the stream. Again, the winners of our preliminary game is Krisha, Ven, Gail, Maya, and Luis. Please message us on GDG page. So once again, let's help the Rise movement. Feel free to follow them on their social media pages. They flashed on screen is their bank details. If you have any question, you can contact Lenli, who discussed earlier what do they do. So for the past months, I think 2 months already, this pandemic has really changed our normal lives. So I hope we were able to help one another in every little way we can. So I think hindi pa nagsisend ng details or hindi pa nagko-comment out yung nanalo. So last call. We will be giving you 1 minute to message us so you can get the StreamYard link. We have Krisha, Ven, Gail, Maya, and Luis. Please message us on the GDG page. We already got Maya's message. Ven is already here. Krisha is already here. So we're just waiting for Luis. Okay, so nag-message na rin si Luis, so we'll be starting the game in a while. So before that, please answer the feedback form. It's bit.ly/May23 WPM feedback. And we will be raffling 10 winners of 500 peso load, 1 Google Home Mini, and 1 Redmi Note 8 from Cloudstaff. We're just waiting for Gail, Luis, and Maya. Ven, Krisha, and Luis. Okay, so si Luis okay na. Ven and Krisha, please open your cam so we can see you. So we're just waiting for Maya and Gail. Maya and Gail, please enter our stream now. And please turn on your cam. So lahat ba nag-fill out na ng feedback form? Sayang din yung isang Google Home Mini or isang Redmi Note 8. And of course, 500 pesos load from Cloudstaff as well. So we're just waiting for Gail. Hi Gail, are you connecting already? Okay, so I'll add everyone on stream so they can already see you. For Gail. Hi Gail, are you connecting already?
Hello, yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Techmakers Manila. So, how are you? And Luis, can you introduce yourself? Open your pause lang or mute yung YouTube here para hindi tayo mag-feedback. Ayan, okay na. So, kindly introduce yourself, what you do, short description of what you do before we start the game. So, let's start with Ben.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Hi, guys. I'm Ben. A data engineer. Bye.
Okay. Next, Luis, introduce yourself.
Hi. Po, nandiyo po ako. Test.
Po. Medyo hindi clear.
Hello po.
Yeah. Hi, Luis. What do you do?
Currently working at a industry and as a web developer.
Okay. Thanks. Gail?
Hi, I'm Gail. Gail Alfonso, and I'm working on cyber intelligence field. And yeah.
Thank you. Next is Maya.
Hi,
Maya.
I'm Maya. Yep. I'm previously employed in Accenture, but I recently resigned, so I'm still searching for work right now. Yep.
Okay. So I think Cloudstaff is looking for employees. Maybe you can try. Next is Krisha. Hi, Krisha.
Hi. So, just graduate. So I'm Krisha. I'm a developer, pwedeng web, pwedeng mobile. But more on backend. So, I'm I just graduated last October 2019. I was working on a research project after graduation sa isang research project sa school. Then now, the contract ended sa April within the quarantine period. So, may nahanap na akong job. However, di ako makapag-sign ng contract. So, since quarantine. So, yeah. I'm just waiting for quarantine to end para makapag-start na ulit ako ng new job.
Yes. So, lahat talaga tayo affected ng COVID-19. So,
Yes.
thank you guys for joining us today, and we're happy to have you here on the stream. So, just to realign you again with our mechanics, of course, we'll have Bring Me Again. So, I hope ready na yung mga bahay nyo para sa kung ano-ano mga dala natin. So, if you noticed kanina, we have our mechanics. So, you have to wait for 3 seconds countdown before nyo hanapin kung ano man yung item na binibigay ko. So, medyo kumikilos na dito si Ben, no? Maayos na siya kung paano niya gagawin. So, the first person who can get the item and shout out, "Together we rise," gets 1 point. Okay, so very clear naman yung mechanics natin, girls, right?
Yes.
Okay, so kung kanina we just have 3 items, right now gagawin na natin siyang 5 dahil 5 girls kayo. So, first, na maka 3, we'll have a Google Home Mini. Okay, so are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ready? Okay, so let's have our first item. Medyo pa surprise. Yan. Bring me coffee. Kailangan yung may coffee. Okay, so naunang magsabi ng together. Yeah, that's good. So 1 point for Gail. Girls, don't forget to say together we rise. Kasi kahit flash na siya on screen, if hindi pa kayo nagme-mention ng together we rise, hindi pa siya counted. So make sure you mention together we rise. Next item. 1, 2, ay, wala pa palang excited ako. Next item. Wait for the countdown. Bring me a Wait lang. Wala pa akong countdown. Bring me a quarantine pass. 1, 2, 3, go!
Together we rise.
Together we rise.
Together we rise.
Ayan.
Go, girl.
Wala sa akin quarantine pass.
Okay, so dahil test lang muna yon, dahil hindi tayo sumunod sa countdown. Okay, let's move to the next item. Girls, merong dalawang very important mechanics. Wait for the countdown and say together we rise. Okay? Clear?
Yep.
Okay, next item.
Yes.
Next item.
Bring me canned goods. Wala pa
Together we rise.
Girls.
Together we rise.
Mauubos na yung natin dito. Mauubos na yung item. Ito kapag tumayo nang wala pang 1, 2, 3, hindi na natin isasali So, linaw, hindi kayo ma-exam. Dalawa yung main mechanics natin. Wait for the countdown and make sure you say together we rise. Okay? So, huwag kayo ma-excite. Mauubos na yung items natin. Okay, for our next item. Item, please. Bring me to the round. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, Louis. Okay, so we have Louis, 1 point. 1 point for Gail and 1 point for
Together we rise.
Very late. Kasama ko pa namin today, Maya. Next item.
Try
Hindi ko namin alam. Right hand. 1, 2, 3, go.
Together we rise. Together we rise.
So, 2 points for Gail. Tama ako, team, right? Si Gail nanalo. So, we have 2 points for Gail and 1 for Louise. Okay, so, isa na lang guys, girls, I mean, pag nanalo pa si Jill dito, siya na yung winner natin. So, need natin humabol. Then, Freda, Luis, and Maya. Okay? So, our next. Pero wag kayong may excite masyado. Wait for the one, two, okay? Next item. Egg. Bring me egg. 1, 2, 3, go.
Together we rise. Together we rise.
Together we rise. Okay, so 1 point for Maya and Louis, 2 points for Gail. Next item. Masyadong ma-excite. Baka magkalimutan tayo. Bring me electric fan.
Together we rise. Together we rise.
So, wait. Ina-ask ko muna yung team kung sino nila. Okay, so we have Ben, 1 point. We have Maya, 1 point. Gail, 2 points. Louis, 1 point. So I think lahat may point na except kay Krisha. Krisha, kaya natin. Just kidding. Anyway.
Go, Krisha!
Anyway, so okay na ba? Guys, upo muna tayo. Upo kayo. Gusto ko nakaupo kayo. Let's be fair. So, next item. Mini tower. 1, 2, 3, go. Tower.
Together we rise.
Together we rise. Okay, that's wrong. Tama ba?